Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Brewer, throw over the middle, caught, Mims, touchdown. Sic 'em Bears.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
8:19 remaining in the first half. Here comes a reverse, and ending up with it is Mike Renfro. And Renfro, with a nifty bit of running, is close to the 42-yard line. It could be close to a first down. A little rookie out of TCU, the son of a great football player in the 50s and 60s with Cleveland, Ray Renfro. Let's look at it again.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Jones at tailback. This is 3rd 14 for the Cowboys. Held your pressure. Casillas down he goes at the 20-yard line.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Well, here we are as we wrap up the 5th week of SicEm365 Radio. Pretty good news today when it comes to technical information that will pass your way. Episode
25.
25. I remember episode 1 and the guest list and just the excitement. And I got to ask you guys this. You know, sometimes you go about things, you love what you do, but sometimes you can maybe get into a funk, or you're not happy, or the surroundings or the environment, or you just kind of get stale. Are you as like energetic and as focused as you 25 shows into it as you were day one?
Yes, I absolutely am.
Yeah, I definitely am. And I think that I was somebody who was kind of managing with a lot of the things that you just mentioned that people have issues with from time to time at a job. And I can say for me, this has been a breath of fresh air. It's been a blessing, and I've been very excited for the last 25 shows. I'm very excited that we've done 25 really good shows and with no games whatsoever to talk about. I mean, 0 games, and I'm not counting Korean baseball, pro wrestling, or anything like that. So we've had 0 events really outside of the Michael Jordan documentary and the NFL draft and the WNBA draft before, we get the angry email. I have to apologize. But besides all of that, we've had 25 shows with a lot of great guests, a lot of great stories, a lot of great backgrounds, and it's been a lot of fun. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like once we see some people out on some fields and out in some ballparks.
You know what hasn't happened to me in 6 weeks? In 6 weeks. I think that's as long as we've been not at the other place.
8
weeks. Oh, it's been 8 weeks?
No, it's March the 18th.
It's been 7.
Yeah, 7 weeks. In 7 weeks, no one has walked into my area while I'm working on something that's as important and told me to do something that's only important to them and them alone. And not having that in my life has made me an immeasurably happier person.
How about one day you meet and you have, this is how we're going to do it, and then by the end of the night or the next morning, it's completely changed with no...
After a meal? I mean, one meal?
So,
couple drinks.
And really, we've looked forward, but I was thinking about that today as I'm on my way here to the temporary studios. And I was like, I'm having a great time. The guest list. I had somebody today tell me, he goes, you guys, excuse me, they said to me, you've had unbelievable guests, but no one really is listening just because of the guests. They want to hear, and we've had more discussion. We've kind of slipped that in a little bit more. And today we're going to have quite a bit. We have 3 guests today. Grayson Grunhafer at 345 Baylor Recruiting. Tony Casillas, he'll be at 4:30. And Mike Renfro, former Oilers and also Cowboys wide receiver from TCU at 4 o'clock. You heard Paul have those highlights on. But we have many things to get to topic-wise. And I think that, well, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know that you guys don't want me to say it yet, but it's there. It's like the first day you jump in the pool in the summertime or early summer. The water's going to be cold, and you don't know what it's like. So the app is up in the store.
Yeah, I was hoping we could wait to the end of the store so I know it kind of.
No, is it in the store?
It's in the store.
Okay,
it's in the store. What I will tell people today, and I'm going to reiterate this every time you say it.
I think we sometimes just let's tell them what's going on.
It is working
Tremendous news.
tremendously, except for one feature that we're waiting on an update for.
Which is the reason we got it.
The reason we got it.
The exact reason why we got an
But
app.
it's working, so you can go download the SicEm365 app. It's on the App Store, SicEm365. Make sure you hit search. Don't just put Sicem in the search line because it's new, so until it gets a bunch of downloads, you'll get anything else like Sicem Delivery or something else like that. So you hit search, you pull it up, you download it, and you can go right to us. So even if you do get it, the great thing about it, though, is even though until Monday or so, whenever the developers give us the green light on the new update, you can't listen in the background for very long right now. There's still like a 20 to 30-second time. And if you lose it, just open the app back up. But Colt Barber has set up a ton of great stuff inside the app. So you can search your social media inside the app. You can search the web, The Athletic, ESPN is all. There's links to it inside the app. So you can go to those sites, including especially SicEm365, while you're in the app, and then you don't lose it. But if you happen to have to go do something else, then you just pop it back on, and it pops right back up, and you can hear it. So there's no rigmarole to it.
Because let's just be honest. I mean, one of the things you have to do is be honest about some of the – we have had a great – I think we've had a really – it's not up to us to say this. We've had fun for 5 weeks, really 7 weeks, as Craig mentioned. But we sometimes, and especially where we used to be, is that we would never really explain things at times.
Because we couldn't, because we would have to.
We never had time sometimes to react to it. But
right.
So when we started this, Colt put us up on SicEm365.com, which is the website. And we were also on Periscope and Facebook and YouTube and God knows what else. But one of the issues is that other than there was one feed where you could go in there and change the background where you could listen to it. If you got a text, it would interrupt the feed. And this right here is going to end that. At the same time, it still has some work to be done. But this is going to also allow us to know who you are, not like we're government spying on you, but allows us a little bit more about who you are and allows us to maybe help be more relevant, not by just Baylor or the Cowboys, but also from where you are to make sure we're covering what you want.
Yeah. Also, Colt just reminded me to say that there is, right now, when you pull up the app, it'll say covering Baylor Athletics instead of SicEm365. That's another thing we're fixing. But again, this is why you don't make an announcement on the first day. You
do. I think it's fun. I think TJ, I'm downloading now. I'm texting while listening. This is greatness. Now, TJ, in 20 seconds from now,
this is going to go away.
Well, I'll tell you what. Colt sent the link out last night to the app and or sent it to us in our group message, and I downloaded it. I got it downloaded nice and quick. I was able to peruse around a little bit. I mean, outside of that, issue that is going to be fixed in the next couple of days on the background listening. Outside of that, I mean, it was great. I got right onto SicEm365.com. You can go through the forums really easily. You can look at all the articles. As Paul mentioned, there's links to other sites as well that are relevant to Baylor athletics. And yeah, it's very simple, very easy, and a very quick connection to be able to listen to the show just about anywhere. So it's just about there. And we're, I'd say, 90% along the way, just a little 10% to go, but that'll be finalized here relatively soon. But yeah, you can go ahead and download it right now. But yeah, like you said, make sure you put in SicEm365 Radio because Sicem Delivery or some other app may come up. So SicEm365 Radio, and that'll be your go-to. A guy on the SicEm365 message board, Kevin Wood. And I don't know if that's Kevin Wood or that's a name, but he did like did you see this? No. Where he kind of talked about how they had Big 12 meetings with Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, and I think he took every school and kind of took a shot at them. And we're going to read that today. We have Frank Caliendo. I don't know if it's going to work like I want. And by the way, that's somebody I've reached out to enough to where I think he's blocked me now. But I'd love to have Frank. You even reached out to him on Twitter. Yeah, I did. I mean, you know what? How do you get no or yes if you don't ask? So I won't bother him anymore, and he doesn't. We've had him on, as Paul's mentioned before, at Super Bowls.
but he did something with some of the coaches like Gruden and Andy Reid, Bruce Arians, and the ad underneath the video of he being Jerry Jones, talking about Jerry Jones, Cowboys head coach, underneath with the graphic. Is Deontay hot, Paul?
He can be right now. There you go.
Deontay, are you monitoring?
Yes.
How's everything going?
Doing great. To go back to what you said about the app, I'm just excited as the people, I'm checking it every day, trying to make sure everything's going well. But I kind of tweeted about it earlier, not knowing that everything wasn't full and ready yet. But I know all the listeners out there are excited for it. But you can listen to it now. Just be mindful of what they said about the 20 seconds. But I'm just excited as everybody else.
I saw you, the eyes bulging or whatever. Yeah, I know. And Colt Barber obviously has been into this, and I think he's beaten down by my texts.
I don't think so.
Mine are
He's just getting used to what Paul and I have dealt with the last 2 years.
The development of this has been like watching grass grow. It really has. A watch pot never boils.
That's the difference between you and me. You say that, and he says that, but I've had to go through this about 10 times before with different website things. This, to me, was lightning fast.
Well, if you have problems, Paul's cell phone number.
Yeah, no.
But on the app, and Leon said, send me the special app. We will do that for you. Now, they're also on the app, in Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, by the way, as our sponsor of the app, the SicEm365 radio app, thanks to Ted Teague and those great folks and Bob Block Marketing. But there's also where you can even click to go to the Willis Law Firm chat room, the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, and even call, which I want to do that today, Paul. We took Matt in D.C.
Yeah. We have time. We have plenty of time today. So
we will send autographed blank paper with Paul Catalina's autograph to the first 5. Deontay, Paul, Craig. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find something we can just sign. No one cares, but let's reach out like a blank piece of printer paper.
Yeah.
And all 4 of us will sign it and send it to you.
I'll send you a book I don't want for my house.
An old DVD, an old something. Yeah. I'll send you an old Midway football broadcast or something.
Why do I have a Swingers DVD autographed by Paul Catalina?
We hope you've had a really good week. There's every day you see another university president or someone saying that they feel like there's going to be football in the fall. That's always the discussion. But here's another thing that I thought was interesting today. And again, our guest today, Grayson, will join us at 3:45. It's been a nice week for Baylor and recruiting. What's up next? Tony Casillas, 4:30. Mike Renfro today at 4. So Jim Harbaugh, Paul, he's usually a lightning rod.
Yeah.
Just because of his personality. He's successful enough. But yet again, at Michigan, he has fallen short of what they hired him to beat Ohio State. However, pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
Pretty sharp guy, right?
Yes.
Michigan man, as they say. So he wrote an open letter to the football community. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read a little bit of this. In my opinion, and this is part of the 254-339-1122, Twitter, at Paul Catalina, at Craig Smoke, at David Smoke. Deontay, what is your actual Twitter? I know it's Deontay Epps.
Yeah, my handle is DEpps right steps, so opposite of left steps altogether.
Okay, all right, so all that. And then also you can, on the Willis Law Firm chat room, and let me tell you something about that great place in Houston. You can be a part of that chat room and give us responses as well. In my opinion, we're in need of constructive, proactive discussion about the evolving issues facing intercollegiate football in today's world. Many young men and their families perceive college football as preventing them from earning a living as a professional football player. That is not an unreasonable perception given the rules currently in place. I think he goes on, and it's a long letter, a proposal that they should be able to, individuals, choose to declare for professional draft after any season they choose. If he's drafted within the first 224 picks of the NFL draft or chooses to sign a free agent contract, he would forego remaining college eligibility. However, if he's not drafted among the first 224 picks, He would be able to return to college football if he chooses without penalty, provided he remains in academic compliance and does not receive payment from an agent. The individual leaving college early prior to graduation who signs an NFL contract would be entitled to complete his degree while in the NFL or return to the institution he left to continue his college career as a student once his pro career was completed.
See, now that doesn't make any sense because
no sense.
once you leave college, why should I be required? And this, I'm not saying you shouldn't go get your college degree, but once you've gotten paid a bunch of money, why should you be able to tell me?
A lot of guys go back and get their degree because they just feel like they. And he said, by the way, he continued by saying at the university's expense.
Yeah, but why should I have to go back?
Right.
That's the problem I have. Why should I have to?
No, he said would be entitled to complete.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Entitled
No.
to.
I thought you said required.
No, because that would just be that would be blown up. No.
Yeah.
The third part, a broadening of the rules to permit a student athlete and his family to consult with and seek advice on before signing a professional contract, lawyers, agents, so long as the student athlete does not receive compensation. Well, they do that now anyway.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is basic. I mean, this is earth-shattering is definitely too strong. But this is, a big deal because not many coaches do this, but it just sounds like he's advocating for the NBA rules.
No, that's exactly what he's doing.
It's just the NBA rules. Hey, you can go in the draft and then pull your name out as long as you only sign with a agent that is of the NCAA's.
But here's the difference, though, Craig, is you would go through the draft. Mm-hmm. And then after the draft, if you're not among the 224 which is basically 7 rounds compensatory and all that.
Which is what college basketball wants too. They want So for example, if Maceo Teague and Jared Butler go through and don't get picked, the college basketball would like the opportunity for them to, which essentially, could be a good and a bad thing. That means that your whole roster could just put themselves up for the NBA draft. If they're picked or not, they can come back or they can leave. That just leaves a constant open door, and which you almost have now anyway with the transfer portal. So if you're going to have a one-time transfer rule, I almost think it makes sense for every sport to have like, all right, look, you're just in the draft all the time, and you can declare, and you can pull yourself out of the draft, essentially saying, no, I'm not going to, knowing that you're not going to get picked or whatever, but you can be in the draft whenever you want, just go, and you can come back if you don't get drafted. That's up to you. And then we'll hold it out.
So it sounds nice and fair, and yet didn't we see where everyone thought that when the NCAA was discussing allowing sports the ones who didn't get to compete, another year of eligibility, and then a lot of people that, well, why don't we let basketball? Because everyone was so emotional, and again, like let help the basketball players too, which I disagreed with. I was on the minority end of that. Is that you've played a full year. Yeah, you didn't get to play in the postseason. And I'm not saying if they would have done that, it would have bothered me. It would not have bothered me. I'm just saying it's not like softball, baseball, and those sports, track and field, et cetera, golf, tennis.
And Freddie Gillespie told us that if given the opportunity, he wouldn't.
Exactly.
I mean, he was so.
But some coaches started to bulge their eyes out like, whoa, we've got people coming in. Mm-hmm. Not that you wouldn't want another one of these. Like, you would love to have Lauren Cox back, or if, in fact, she wanted to come back,
Taya
Cooper or Juicy Landrum. Not that you would say no to them, but you have people who that are expecting to play. It would have been a little bit more difficult than just, again, it's like those who are political saying, and I'm not trying to pick us, no, yes, I am. I'll say that. Well, all rent and mortgages until this is over should be free. What about the people who own the banks and the apartment complexes?
Yeah. I don't know if it should be free. Like, there's a middle ground to that of like.
But not just, you don't just give it a blanket. Everybody don't have to pay.
Yeah, exactly. There's a middle ground
That's just creating a nightmare.
Maybe you shouldn't be evicted if you lost your job.
Would I like to not have to pay rent?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Everyone, but just because it's a little, to me, I may be wrong. Yeah. In this day and age, I'm probably in the minority there too. Yeah. I mean, like, come on. Go earn something.
Yeah.
And, hey, we've all been unemployed in the last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So how does this correlate to what you're talking about with the draft and what we're discussing there?
My question is, do you like the idea, or would that actually, before we sit there and just say it's a great idea, and it appears to me, something that eventually they'll do, would this create more of a problem than people realize?
No, only if the NCAA does not just adjust its calendar. Because what you would have to do is essentially adjust your calendar for recruiting so that you really kind of know, all right, well, and for football, it wouldn't be a big deal at all. I really think for football, you have maybe 5 guys a year who as freshmen would get drafted.
Not even that.
I mean, like that would have to be a year where
it wouldn't even be that, Paul. Because we talk about Adrian Peterson could have been the one guy to jump from high school to the pros. Yeah. So if you're talking about like freshman teams and things like that, I think like the best teams, you could have 5 in theory. Like, okay, if the rule is to where if you're drafted within the top 224 picks, which that's just the 7 rounds that we already have in the draft. That's what they're saying is the 7 rounds. There's some guys who probably would get picked up off of just potential alone, or they had really good freshman years. But yeah, like it'd be 2 guys maybe on even some of the best teams, I would think, getting drafted that early.
Yeah, because football's a sport that you don't want to waste a year. Like you want your guy, if you're paying your athletes, you don't want to waste a year them essentially just lifting weights and practicing. You want them, I mean, they have that enough already with a lot of rookies, but when you're talking about 18 and 19-year-old kids, that's going to be the biggest issue. You know, as good as Trevor Lawrence was his freshman year, as good as any of those guys were, they still looked like they were 19 years old, and so that's what the NFL doesn't want. The NBA is a little bit different. They have a lot of safeguards in place for their 19-year-old kids that they draft, and that's what they've been doing now for the better part of 20 years, so they kind of know it. So, I think it'd be fine. I think the rules all across the board, I mean, the NCAA, in my opinion, needs to completely just gut the building and do everything differently.
I think we are starting. That's happening by one. Players now get a cost of living, which they didn't get before, right? Mm-hmm. Now the name, image, likeness, whatever they do, right? That's going to happen. They're getting now more than ever before. They also, because they're on scholarship, have an amazing amount of perks, correct?
Yeah.
But it seems like everything is in the momentum, Craig, that college athletes are getting more than they've ever gotten before. And, hey, get whatever you can, supply and demand, America, right? Mm-hmm. But now it's almost like everybody wants them to get everything. Should they?
I mean, I don't know. That's up to, that's something that you really got. For me, it's not just a blanket yes or no. No, I don't think they should get everything. I guess I'll just say that. Do I think they should be, in some cases, allowed more? Before I hear the yelling of people like, they get a free education. I get that.
I used to be that person. I've changed my mind.
But look at the money involved, and that's still not, up to par, or it's at least not enough to say that, oh, no, they get plenty and they don't need any more. I think that there is some more that they could get. I mean, that's a completely different topic to me than what you're talking about with Jim Harbaugh, because Harbaugh's is just a list of rules and idea changes that he would like to see. So I think they're kind of almost, in some ways, 2 separate things. Now, they are similar in that you're giving players the freedom to jump in and out of the draft any year that they want to, at any time that they want to. And no, I don't like that idea. I think it would be a mess for the coaches as far as scholarship goes. So then what you would have to do is you'd have to have the NCAA tweak their scholarship rules. They'd have to do all of that. Then you'd have to go through all that minutia. Then you'd have to figure out, okay, how are we going to rework it now? And then as a coach, you're basically on a whim every year in recruiting, because you might need 20 guys, but you might need 26 because like 6 of your sophomore and freshmen feel like they're going to go in the draft. And guess what? 4 of those guys didn't get drafted. They're now back next year. Oh, they're not happy because you got that 5-star freshman cornerback who might beat him out. He now wants to transfer. Oh, there's no transfer rules. It's just that to me is where it gets really complicated.
And that's why I think what he's saying makes sense. At the same time, we want to just give.
And not have any answers for what happens if it goes wrong.
What about the repercussions?
Yeah.
Exactly.
They would need to. I think, like I said, I think the whole thing needs to be gutted. And I think there's a way to do it, almost all of it, with restrictions on certain things. For example, like I said before, they would have to, if they're going to let people come in and out of the draft, they would have to change essentially the recruiting timeline altogether.
Yeah, completely.
Like they would have to completely change it. And I'm not sure. No, I am sure. That needs to be done anyway. I really think that. I think that recruiting should be really kind of like elections. Like we have elections. People announce they're running for president 2 years before anybody will ever actually cast a ballot for them. And that's just so much time. The same with recruiting. I think the recruiting calendar just needs to be shortened so much and just, I mean, I might be wrong.
Is that because of because of the decommitments and the changing of mind, or
like everything that goes
Yeah,
into recruiting.
okay.
The amount of time that coaches have to spend doing it.
254-339-1122 is the number to call. We would love to get your feedback on this, and a lot of you have already started to respond on my Twitter feed. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke. I'm David Smoke on SicEm365 Radio.
So I think you need to kind of clarify the question for people out there, because I feel like we're going to have some people calling up saying, no, athletes shouldn't get paid, and that's not what we're talking about.
Do you think college football players should be able to leave for the NFL
after any
year? Freshman, sophomore, not just 3 years after their high school graduation. You could have a redshirt year, then 2 years, then you can declare for the NFL draft. Should college football players be allowed to leave for the NFL after any year of what they do in college?
And then be allowed, if they don't get picked, to come back to school.
If they're not drafted among the 7 drafts, and by the way, that includes compensatory picks and whatever else. If they're not drafted, they have the opportunity, if they want, to go back to the college of where they played. There's going to be clogs, or this thing's going to have problems. It just seemed like it was great. I used to be, golly, you're there to get an education. I'm 61 years old, so I remember that. And then I've opened up, I've loosened up. I understand the cost of living that they should get. I get that. And I'm much more open-minded about it. I used to be, there's got to be something of value, and I still think that there's got to be some value to the fact that they're able to go to school and get an education.
Oh, there's a lot of value to that.
But it's a billion-dollar business.
I think there's a lot of guys who get degrees that otherwise would not get degrees.
Yes.
Because of scholarships. So I think it affords you that opportunity, and hopefully you're somebody who doesn't take that lightly. I think the majority, like 90% of guys, don't take that lightly, because that's the majority of the people who are actually going and playing in college. The 10% of the pros who are eyes on the NFL, and even some of those guys are all very serious about getting their degrees. So, yeah, the education aspect of it gets glossed over, but it's definitely not something that should be glossed over.
Part of this, by saying yes, you like it, is also, should the university then be the one that pays the way for athletes when they're done going back to get their degree on the university's expense? There's kind of like, how they do in Congress? They tie something in that kind of helps a lobby thing.
Yeah.
Who do we got?
We got Matt in D.C.
Our man Matt in D.C. Good afternoon on SicEm365 Radio. Thanks for the call.
Matt, are you there? Please don't tell me I hung up on Matt.
Sounds like it, brother.
I heard that click.
Okay.
Matt, call us back. We want to get you on before the break. 254-339-1122. 254-339-1122. And if you want to call in, that's the number to call. We'd love to get your feedback. We have another segment with this before we get to Grayson on recruiting.
I really don't like the idea of, and I'm fine if they were to, I don't know if I'm fine. I would need to give this more thought, but I'm okay with the idea of changing some things, but I don't like the idea of, for example, when Baylor had their draft class this year, I'm sitting there watching. I know Jermichael Hasty, or I guess a Graylin Arnold will count. So Graylin Arnold left as a junior. So in theory, because he didn't get picked in the first 7 rounds, he could come back to Baylor. That's a great thing, and that'd be cool. But at the same time, if you're Dave Aranda, do you already have somebody, you have 4 or 5 safeties that you already have lined up that you're getting ready to go, and all of a sudden Graylin comes rolling in like mid-April and says, hey, never mind, I'm going to be back next year. And you'd be glad because he's a great player.
You would absolutely.
But at the same time, there's some things you'd have to work through.
What if you get a graduate? What if you get not a graduate? What if you get a transfer that comes in who's a really good corner or safety? He comes in because Graylin Arnold's gone.
Right.
Or Jamison Houston's gone. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're back. Well, that's part of you. Again, there have to be consequences for the decisions if you turn pro, but you also have consequences if you go to a school and then somebody else is there that's better than you that you didn't expect to be there.
Yeah, it seems like there are 0 consequences
to anything.
To anything the player does via what Harbaugh's saying.
Yeah. Matt in D.C., we got him?
Yeah,
Matt, good
Matt,
afternoon.
you're there, right?
Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon on the Stonewood Dental call-in line. Thanks for your time.
Oh, come on.
One of those days. We'll figure it out during a commercial break, which we probably need to take.
Deontay, do you want another job?
Hey, do you guys know how to work all this stuff? No jokes. This is a nightmare. It's supposed to be working. It did the same way I did it the other day. I have no idea.
Oh, God. We'll come back, Matt. We'll see if we can get you back. 254-339-1122, SicEm365 Radio. live crawfish is back. The 30-pound bags of live crawfish, as delicious as you can imagine, back at Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. $3 a pound, 30-pound live crawfish bags are available. You order by Thursday at noon. You can pick up your customized order anytime on Friday afternoon until 6 p.m. And the drive-thru now open at Waco Custom Marketplace Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can still order what you want from their butcher shop, including beef and poultry, seafood, and also pork. And, of course, their bakery. You can order from their bakery. You can go online, WacoCustomMarketplace.com, or go by the drive-thru. Waco Custom Marketplace, live crawfish available Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, so my name is David Smoke.
My name is Paul Catalina.
I'm Craig.
Craig
Smoke.
Deontay Epps, is that right?
Yes, sir.
D. Carter, he said, hey, by the way, sometimes we don't know who Craig and Paul, what their last names are. I've said Paul, Craig, and David Smoke, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I try to not bring you in because you hate callers, and apparently very much so.
Hey, hold on. Matt, are you there? Please, God. Matt.
Nope.
All right, so here's from the Willis.
Literally nothing has changed.
The Willis Law Firm. I
don't believe he's there.
Listening live on the app from Ryan Allen Long. Great to have. Duke Nukem. This app is great. Packard. Technical meltdowns like that are still radio gold. Keep kicking butt, guys. It's so much fun though to do something that we're. And wait till I ask Paul sometime later today, Deontay. I don't even know if you have your mic up because Paul's trying to. What about if I just threw a 10 in a row?
Like 10 calls in a row? Yeah, I don't think that would go over very well. First of all, we got to figure out we can take the one, but
we got to get the one
much
caller.
less 10.
All right, so also on Twitter, D. Carter, buddy, I love you, man. Thanks for the direct message with what you brought up. Thanks for your time. Also on the chat room, at the Willis Law Firm chat room, the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. Leon, this is TJ, excuse me. Craig, if you got time, you got to give your picks for the fights this weekend. Yeah, they're having a huge. Is this the one that's on like Fantasy Island? Where's this at? The UFC stuff.
Yeah, the UFC's got their big show coming up, and I would have to take a look back over the card. I mean, I have been eyeing the main event and all of that, but yeah, it's the big UFC return, UFC 249 in Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, home of the Jaguars, obviously, they've got a little bit of experience with running events during quarantine time because Tony Khan, who is the son of Jags owner Shad Khan, but Tony also a very high-level personnel person in the Jaguars organization, is also the owner of All Elite Wrestling, which just launched late 2019 on TNT and has been doing really well for itself. And running shows. They did a scenario about 3 weeks ago where they taped or maybe this is even further back, but they taped like 6 weeks worth of television shows all in one day so that they had content for, a month and a half, and they could sit and see how, it was all going to play out with quarantine and bringing fans back. So they took those precautions, and now they're at the point, along with other companies, where they're being allowed a little bit more freedom and they can have more people and get back to it. But that's why I'm going to be very interested to see how this UFC event goes off, because I'll tell you what, guys, the thing that is the weirdest thing about watching a pro wrestling show right now, or what will be incredibly strange, is the no fans. I mean, it absolutely matters.
Well, it thrives on it.
It absolutely matters. Pro wrestling is not the same, and they don't have near the type of crowds more often than not than what a football game has or a basketball game has. So that's going to be really weird to get used to. It's going to be really weird to see some fights this weekend, because I imagine you're going to hear every slap of the fist, of skin on skin, of every, wrench on a guy's knee. I feel like you're going to hear a lot of things that you don't typically hear because of crowd noise or because of announcers. So it's going to be weird, but it is, for those who are looking for some live entertainment, a pretty big event going on this weekend. So we'll see how it goes.
Texas Farm D, it's Texas PHARMD. Proposals 2 and 3 from Harbaugh, great, but one just isn't realistic. Why would a hotshot junior risk losing his last year of eligibility just to see where he would land in a draft? But then again, if you allow them to return, then a team would waste a draft pick on a kid who won't sign.
Okay, I haven't thought about that at all. I mean, obviously the players, once they leave, have the ability to come back under this theory. But, yeah, that would be interesting if you are somebody.
I have goosebumps.
Who's like a sophomore and you declare, and then you get picked in like the late 6th round by a team maybe you don't want. Yeah, then what do you do? Like if that guy all of a sudden is like, you know what? No, I don't want to play for the Rams, and I got picked too late, so I'm not going to make good money like I thought I was going to make. So now I want to go back, because somebody's going to test that at some point, probably very early.
We've seen guys at the top of the draft do that, right? So why wouldn't they do it in the 4th round?
No, I don't think. Well, you can't. I would say the thing is, if wasting a draft pick on a guy who's not going to sign, if you're going to get drafted, then you got to go. You can't once you've been drafted.
I didn't read that. I did not read that into. Is that what?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah,
I thought it said if you are not drafted among the 7 rounds, then you can go back.
Yeah.
If you
but
want.
no,
But if you're drafted, you're stuck.
But no, that texter said they're going to waste a draft pick on somebody who's not going to sign. That's not what's going to happen. If you get drafted, you're out.
Yeah. Here's from Matt in D.C. I'm going to his phone call that Paul refuses to take. What 18 or 19-year-old can line up against a 25-year-old NFL veteran anyway and make an impact? Zero. The NFL rookies now get beat up, Matt in D.C. There is like one every 20 years an exception.
Yeah.
Maybe. And even Earl Campbell or Adrian Peterson or one or two others, and we think of those as running backs, would still be interesting. You know, it took Earl. He had an impact as a freshman at Texas, but he took a beating a couple years too.
I'm going to tell you right now, if Adrian Peterson, and I know that Adrian has spoken on this before, and Adrian was a guest on the show last week, and after we got done, I felt kind of I regretted not asking him about that because it's something that I know he's talked about before, and the last time I saw him mention it, maintains that he feels like he could have been able to do it. He could have played right out of high school in the NFL. But I will say, even if that is true, and I'm not so sure that it is, but even if it was, his career would have ended about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Because he would have been so beat up, especially those early couple years when he's not physically ready. As physically impressive as he was not NFL physically ready to take hits like that. So, yeah, I think you'd see much shorter careers in some cases if, you have freshmen jumping and feeling like they're ready.
And emotionally, mentally, whatever you want to say, just maturity.
Look at Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say Denzel Mims 2 years ago isn't, like, fed up or just, maybe not in the greatest space of mind, and he decides, oh, man, another coaching change. I'm tired of this. I'm leaving. And then he's a 7th-round pick, maybe if even that. And, it works out a lot differently. So there's something to be said for sticking around and getting better throughout your career versus that first chance you make going and making some money. Now, granted, there's guys that make that decision that absolutely are making the right decision. There's tons of those guys. But I do think you'd have, like we saw this last year, what was it? I don't know what the final number was, but it was like an absurd number of players who declared that didn't get drafted. I think we'd see even more of that. And then what does that turn into? That turns into a lot of guys who probably don't end up reaching their potential at any level.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, do you guys, before we go, I want to do a little on-air engineering so I can figure out what the problem is.
Okay.
All right.
What do we need to do?
So just see if we hear a dial tone when I flip it over.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. Hang it up.
So.
Here we go.
Howard Stern wishes he could put on radio like this.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, is this SicEm365 radio? Okay, hold on 1 second. I'd like to talk to Paul and Craig and Smokey and Deontay. Okay. All right. All right.
It's a big test. Here we go.
Hello? Are you there?
There we go.
There we go.
See, so it wasn't me. It was
No,
Matt.
it's just
You can get off the phone now.
Yeah, it took the pressure of me being the one calling.
Yeah.
See, there's nothing. You can't get this anywhere else.
Yeah. So there. I'm glad I figured it out.
What did you do?
I'm glad we know it works.
Literally nothing.
Are you blaming this on Matt in D.C., who's inside bunkered in the Pentagon?
I think
What's
that's
really
probably
funny
why.
is that Matt's just prank calling. He's every time Paul goes to him, he's just hanging up.
My good friend Chris, who's been an amazing. He's been a guy that's had been able to kind of help me understand what my take on the coronavirus compared to others. He is fantastic. He's been good. And sometimes he said, no, you have a great point. Sometimes you don't. He just said, hey, when did the app launch? See?
Yeah.
It launched today, and it's still being tweaked. But people have been thirsty for this.
And Colts sent out, or somebody over at the website sent out an alert. If you're signed up for the text alerts, typically that is to let you know of a new commit that's come in, and just major news like
is that. Right? On the app?
No, I'm just saying that we typically get text alerts.
Yeah, we can do it on the
Let me finish this part. We typically get text alerts for like breaking news and recruits and commitments and stuff like that. So you can sign up for those if you so choose. It's in like your settings or whatever if you're a member, which we all encourage you to be. But he sent out a push notification just a few minutes ago about the app. So everybody's starting to go grab the app.
Here's from Edmund Bear. Meltdowns are so tickety. It's fun to listen to. You enjoy it. You guys are having fun. Play it up. Make fun of yourselves. All fun to listen to. That's from Edmund Bear. And also, Pitchman, love this app. It's about time.
Yeah.
If you could only understand, Pitchman, how many phone calls I've had with these people at Google, Apple, and all this, it's just hard.
I will say, shout out to the Old Gray Wolf for one, mentioning the ticket. For sure, shout out to the Old Gray Wolf. But the push notifications, will those be on the app?
Yes.
So if you have the app, then you will be able to know at a moment's notice as soon as Colt or whoever gets word that, hey, yesterday, Connor Lands commits, and you'll have that directly to your phone, just like a text message, all while you're listening. It's great.
In fact, Nate in Hewitt received the text alert. Was available, downloaded within a minute receiving. Go. Enjoy the weekend, fellas. You too, Nate. Coming up, Grayson Grunhafer on the week of Baylor recruiting and next week as well. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, excuse me. Taking a sip right as I'm supposed to be doing a commercial. That is not very professional, but I'll tell you who is professional. That is the fine folks over at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Back in March, they celebrated 21 years of serving Waco and Central Texas, and they have not only their own health in mind, but your health in mind as well. Richard Carr employees are the people you can count on to get you in a car or truck safely during these times and on your terms. They disinfect the showroom daily. They closely monitor employee health, and hands are washed and disinfected with great frequency. Plus, the Richard Carr sales staff will bring a car to you for a test drive, and they can complete the financing online. Right now, some of their offerings, how about the 2020 GMC line of Sierras and Acadias, Terrains and Canyons? They're all 0% for 84 months for qualified buyers, plus Richard Carr anniversary savings. Also, the Buick Encores and Enclaves are in stock, 0% for 84 months for qualified buyers, plus Richard Carr anniversary savings. They're your local family dealer, and they're also proud Baylor Bear alumni, and they want the chance to earn your business. Get great prices, plus free oil changes with a new purchase and in-town priority warranty service. All comes with your purchase at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Hi, this is Conley football coach Shane Anderson. I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
This is SicEm365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
All right, Mike Renfro and Tony Casillas in the 4 o'clock hour. Grayson Grunhafer, who has been a busy young man, as Baylor continues to pick off a couple of commitments each week, including the commitments they had this week from Denton Geyer, and of course, Craig. Who's the other one from earlier this week?
I'm losing track
Obviously,
as well. That's why we have Grayson
quarterback
on.
and lineman, but that's why we have Grayson on. But Grayson, you know all this. This is what you do. Your thoughts initially. Let's go start from the most recent with Denton Geyer and the defensive lineman. Your thoughts, and I know that this is Joey McGuire had a relationship with the family. Your thoughts about that commitment?
Yeah, Cooper Lands is the defensive end out of Denton Geyer. And, I mean, if you just kind of look at his film and kind of look at his frame, and obviously also has a brother that went to TCU, but yeah, he had 8 sacks this year, 24 tackles for loss, so a very disruptive defensive player. He's already up around 240 pounds, so you would think that he's going to put on quite a bit more weight and maybe be at that 280-pound mark sooner rather than later, because they are going to need him to put on size for the kind of defense that they're going to want to play and kind of the position that they're going to want him to play most likely. So yeah, it was a really nice commitment. And he's a guy that I think, was kind of at that tipping point where, if they waited a few more weeks, or if he waited a few more weeks to commit to Baylor, he was probably going to add quite a few more offers. It was kind of about to trend in that direction, but he decided that Baylor was the place for him, and that's kind of becoming a reoccurring theme, at least over the last week or so.
Do you see any more coming in now that they've, drones and him and that there's a bit of a wave coming?
Yeah, I think that you're kind of continuing to see that momentum. So I think it would be wise to say that there's a good chance that they could add another 1 or 2 in the next couple weeks. That would just kind of be following that same trend. And, they're waiting on a decision that's coming up on May 13th. Duncanville wide receiver Roderick Daniels, he'll be making his decision, and kind of conventional thinking is that he's got Baylor in his top couple. So he could be one that maybe will pop in the next 5 days. So we'll be on the lookout for that. But yeah, there's a few more that I would say are probably, maybe Baylor leans, or at least Baylor's in good shape with them.
Grayson, right now they've got a couple of safeties, they've got a wide receiver, they've got a corner, a D-end, a linebacker, an O-lineman, a quarterback, and a running back. What position do you think is going to be the heaviest depth-wise as far as what they try to bring in this class?
Yeah, so I think it's probably going to be either wide receiver or offensive line. I think a lot of that depends on how they decide to handle business filling out the 2020 class. And that's why I've been a little hesitant on saying they're going to take 5 offensive linemen in 2021, because I really do think that they're going to at least add 1 or 2 more in 2020 with the spots that they have remaining. But I still think that's the position that I think definitely needs more depth and more bodies on the roster. Wide receiver is just one that I think if you look at their depth chart, their kind of roster breakdown, they have a lot of guys that look very similar. And by that, I mean, 6'1" guys that are, maybe slot guys, or maybe could play a little bit outside, but I'm not sure that you want them outside, the whole time as a true outside receiver. The only guys like that on the roster are Jared Atkinson, who is a senior, Tyquan Thornton, who's a junior, and Yusuf Terry, who is a redshirt freshman. But you look at that, those are the only guys that they really have that are true outside receivers. So I think that's an area they're going to address in this class. with at least 2 or 3 spots.
Who is the godfather, in your opinion, through, I guess, the 10 or 11, how many commits they have? Who's the godfather that's going to be the leader of this class that might bring 2 or 3 others with him?
Yeah, I think that one is actually fairly obvious. I think it's going to be Kyron Drones, the quarterback out of Shadow Creek. And the reason why I say that is because typically quarterback can start a momentum wave, but a quarterback can also be a huge influence recruiting-wise, especially with offensive players, especially with guys in the area. And him being from Houston, I mean, that's a very fertile recruiting ground, an area that Baylor is really attacking hard. And so I think the staff's going to count on him to at least help in whatever way he can. And when I talked to him back when he committed, he definitely seemed very open and really wants to do that to bring guys to Baylor with him.
So, Grayson, 2021's moving on along, and we did talk Heffernan with you last week, right, when we were talking about Kyron Drones? I believe we did, because he committed a couple days early.
Yeah, I think we might have. I think he might have committed the same day, actually.
Okay, so I think we talked about him, but 2021 is starting to fill up nicely. They're, let's say, probably about around the halfway point right now, being at 10 commits and just 20 typically being an average that we go around, but they're now on to 2022 and have already started in on this class. Kyan Roberts-Day out of Joplin, Missouri, the defensive end, who had a very unique connection to Baylor with his late brother, them being fans of Baylor and wanting to go to school there together, and then unfortunately his brother passed away. But Kyan Roberts-Day is planning on heading to Baylor, Grayson. What can you tell us about the first commit for 2022?
Yeah, so I'm going to start by talking about how you mentioned 2022 is starting to take shape for Baylor. There were about 7 offers yesterday, it felt like, to 2022 guys. So they're definitely, ready to kind of focus on that class as well. But Kyan Roberts-Day starting off that 2022 class, 6'4", 220 pounds, and he's only going to be a junior. So that just is the kind of athletic mold that you definitely want to see. He's a guy that tests well. Like I said, great size. I think that he's still raw, a very raw football player at the moment, but a guy that I think in a year, maybe less than a year, I think you're going to start to see more offers come his way, more programs start to look his way, and that's going to make things probably difficult. But Baylor being his first offer and then a school that he committed to almost immediately definitely puts Baylor in a good shape, and I think it's a good starting point. And to go out of state with your first commit in a class is pretty rare, especially for Baylor.
The last question for you. Dave Aranda just had a media session. We were a part of it, as you know, and played some of it when we could on, I guess it was on Wednesday. Did you get anything out of that? And your thoughts? I mean, it was lengthy, but seems like he crossed or checked most of the boxes off.
Yeah, that was a really, really good session. It was about 45 minutes long, so definitely got to hear a lot from the Baylor head coach. But obviously, most of the time I pick up on things that have to do with recruiting or kind of personnel. And so hearing about him talk about the grad transfers, Gunnar Royer and William Bradley King, that was obviously very interesting, just kind of how he thinks they'll fit in. But then also hearing about, how they're trying to recruit still while not having kids on campus, whether that be virtual tours, whether that be, creating big boards and kind of just creating relationships with parents and having to do it through the phone and through Zoom and other means was just really interesting. It seems like they're working very hard to make sure that they're not missing a beat on the recruiting trail during this time. And I think that's going to be really important and pay dividends to this class. And I think we're already seeing it with these kids that are deciding to commit early, some who have never even been on campus before.
Yeah, and I wanted to make mention that if you want more talk about what Aranda had to say, Grayson and I went over pretty much everything I'd say, Grayson, earlier this week on Trust the Podcast, so you can check that out now over at SicEm365.com. Went over a lot of the things that he had to say, including, Grayson, we don't need to get into it right now necessarily, but you and I both found it interesting the way he mentioned Charlie Brewer amongst the leaders this offseason. Not that it's not to be expected when you're their quarterback, but that was something of note given we don't really hear Charlie in that role the last 3 years.
Definitely great to hear. And we mentioned it, it's time for him to take that step. It's his senior season. And I think, when they get back to school, it's going to be important that he continues to trend in that direction. But yeah, great to hear that he's been a leader for these guys during a really tough time.
Grayson Grundhafer all over recruiting, and because I don't know if it's the crystal ball, whatever it is, but he's always right on top of it. He knows when something's about to snap because he also, he and Colt, Craig, you guys stay up on recruiting and stay in touch with some of these guys that are getting the offers. All right, coming up next, Mike Renfro played with the Cowboys and the Oilers, one of the more controversial. You think about Dez, catch, no catch. Mike Renfro's was in like a championship game setting. He'll join us from the TCU Horned Frogs as well. He's next on SicEm365 Radio. Hey, how about this? Waco Custom Marketplace, their drive-thru is open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. But you can order by Thursday, and I think Brian Bauer, part of the Bauer family that owns Waco Custom Marketplace, I don't know the exact time, but let's just say if you order by around noon, or I'd say maybe give or take an hour after that, the 30-pound bags of live crawfish, if you did that by yesterday, you know what you picked up today or you're about to between now and the time they close at 6. A 30-pound or maybe more than just one bag of delicious, tasty live crawfish. Oh, yeah, you got to boil it, but you got to get the crawfish. And you get that 30-pound bags at $3 a pound at Waco Custom Marketplace. You want to cook the best steaks. You want to get the best steaks. You want steaks that are cut for you. Maybe you like them very thick. You like bone-in ribeyes, or you like the bacon wrap fillets or sirloin steak. Want that? Or beef and poultry, pork, and seafood. Waco Custom Marketplace, the drive-thru open. You can also call in, make an order online, and pick it up at their location Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6. And don't forget, make sure you get your live crawfish order in by Thursday, early afternoon, and pick it up by the weekend and enjoy. It's Waco Custom Marketplace, the Bauer family, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Waco, Texas, our city of remarkable growth and opportunity with an even brighter future ahead. What makes it all work is our people living, working, and growing together. And we're proud to be from here, helping and serving the community we call home. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas, taking great pride in being locally owned and operated. Come see us at any of our 5 convenient locations. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. And a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long-distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Hi, this is Tyler Holcomb, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach at Bishop Lewis Riker, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This is Waco, and this is Boozer's Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry and at a competitive price, they come here. This is Brad Boozer. He's the owner of Boozer's Jewelers. Boozer's is the premier wedding ring store. They specialize in loose diamonds and wedding rings. At Boozer's, they have 7 jewelry counters dedicated to wedding rings and diamonds only. They also specialize in heirloom jewelry, custom jewelry, watches, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Stop on in today and discover why the locals trust Boozer's for their jewelry.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Brewer, throw over the middle, caught, Mims, touchdown, Sikkim Bears.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
In 2016, Mike Renfro was inducted into the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame. He was already in the TCU, TCU Athletics Hall of Fame. He's played with the Cowboys. He played with the Oilers. All 3-time All-Southwest Conference receiver. And when he retired, he held pretty much all the records at TCU and the Southwest Conference. And Mike Renfro joins us now live on SicEm365 Radio. It's hard to imagine. Mike, thank you for being part of the show. How you been?
I've been good, David. Thank you for having us.
Well, we're glad to have you, Craig and Paul. I'm David Smoke, Mike Renfro with us. It's hard to imagine that you had this success you did, but it was actually during a time when the Frogs were struggling. What are your thoughts about what they've done the last 20 years with Gary Patterson?
Well, it's been phenomenal. I've just been amazed that he's turned it around. I sat in his office about 10 or 12 years ago. Clint, my son, was getting recruited, and we were going through our choices and sitting in Coach Patterson's office looking out over, at that time, the Amon Carter Stadium. I said, Gary, if you can ever, and he's starting to turn it around. We had some, Mountain West 9-2, 9-3 type seasons going. And I said, if you could ever, and still not filling up the stadium, I said, if you can ever fill up this stadium, that's probably the final check, because the program had turned around, but the fans still weren't coming. And, the last 10 years, it's been the hottest ticket in Fort Worth, Texas. So it's been phenomenal. I haven't been able to believe it myself, really.
Mike, scheduling you as a guest today, Smokey didn't know this, but he put me into a YouTube hole like you would not believe when I started looking for highlights and different things for you. And, of course, I knew about your controversial catch. You might have been the person who inspired instant replay because of that. How often do you get asked about it? And to this day, is it still a bee in your bonnet?
It's definitely a bee in the bonnet. It's the biggest play in my 11-year career in the NFL that people remember Mike Renfro by. It was obviously a national televised AFC championship game, and prior to instant replay, as some of your younger fans would not realize that, but it stimulated the implementation of the instant replay. It took us a few years in the league to get it in there, but it was a serious call. It was a very close call, and without instant replay, it's up to those referees in the pinstripes, and they're human and they make mistakes. And unfortunately, he made a bad one and cost the Oilers probably their best chance to go to a Super Bowl. So it's the play that most of us remember Mike Renfro.
Do you ever, or how long did it take? Did you ever wake up sometimes in the middle of the night replaying that? Does that ever happen?
Oh, I dream a lot about funny things. We all do, and I dream about very few football plays. I remember I dream about the camaraderie in the locker room and some great Bum Phillips and Tom Landry stories and teammate stories and the Hall of Famers that I got to play with. But that's the one play I do wake up with a nightmare or two, and Donald Orr was the ref's name that unfortunately blew the call, and he actually went through a couple lawsuits, if you can believe that, for Oiler fans having mental anguish and costing the Oilers the Super Bowl chance. And, it was just a big part of Oiler history, certainly back in those days and my history. So, that one turns me over sometimes in the middle of the night still.
You mentioned Bum Phillips. In the one clip I was watching, it is over and over again. Of course, they showed it. It was the NFL Network thing. Bum is wearing an absolutely ridiculous coat. And then you mentioned Tom Landry, who would have never been caught dead in anything like that forever. You got to play for both of them. How were they similar and how were they different?
Well, I was very blessed not only to play for both of them, but stay in my home state, born and raised in Fort Worth, and get drafted by Bum and the Oilers and have a fun, great career there with Earl and Pastorini and Stabler and the characters. David Casper came through at the end of his career and just had some fabulous times. But, they were opposites. They were obviously both very successful. Coach Landry's in the Hall of Fame, and his record speaks for itself. Bum didn't quite have the tenor. The length of his career was a little shorter, but two wonderful coaches. And Tom was all business and X's and O's. And by the time I got to the Cowboy Nation, it was, you didn't have to read the rule books. The rules were just kind of in the air, kind of like this coronavirus. It's just in the air. You didn't see it necessarily, but everything was established. He was a great leader. And then Coach Phillips, everybody just wanted to, run through the wall for him. He'd put his arm around you and drink a beer with you, kind of the opposite style of Coach Landry, but both two successful philosophies that worked great for Houston Oilers players and Dallas Cowboy players that got to play for him. So it was special. I couldn't have asked you put those two guys together, their personalities and everything they taught me and many others. Obviously they would stand out. It would be the best coach in the world if you took both of their assets and put them together. So I feel very blessed.
Since your career wrapped up, I mean, the Cowboys have remained America's team. The Oilers, meanwhile, have left, obviously, and now that we have the Texans. But that Oilers franchise still seems to have such a soft spot in the hearts of a lot of fans out there. I'd imagine you get peppered with lots of Cowboys questions, but do you get about on par the same amount of Oilers questions?
Once the Oilers left and I'll call them the older fans, more my generation and my age, when the Oilers left and went up to Nashville, of course, to become the Texans. I think that the Titans, excuse me. I think the Oilers fans and even the memorabilia buffs and all the people that are just great sports fans, pro football fans, they kind of came out of the woodwork, and I started receiving more opportunities, little things like signing my little football cards. It used to be about 80-20 Cowboys kind of at the end of my career, but as Houston 6 or 7 years later when they left, it did kind of get up there about 50-50. And I always told people back and forth from South to North Texas in my career, if I was ever north of Waco, your town, most people, of course, remember this is a Cowboy. And then if I got south of Waco, it was always I was a Houston Oiler. So that was always fun and still is in my roams through the great state of Texas. So.
You grew up in a football family. Everyone obviously understands the history of your father and how good he was. Was there ever any kind of, you hear about sometimes the pressures of being the father or the son of someone. Was that ever an issue?
No, it really wasn't. Dad was a sharecropper from East Texas. Didn't have two quarters to rub together when he walked on at North Texas, and once he started out running everybody, and Paul Brown drafted him, and he got a 12-year career with the Browns. Obviously, he coached with the Redskins and Cowboys, and when it was over, at age 48 for him, I was in high school still, and I'll never forget people like Don Shula and some guys that he had played with and coached against, head coaches that were calling him for jobs. Dad got burned out a little bit quick. He only had a 10-year coaching career after his playing days. But, again, Dad was a pretty soft-spoken guy. He He knew how to run routes with the best of them. He coached a lot of Hall of Famers, and he was not what you would normally expect from a dad. And I tried to take those same principles with my sons. They were both talented enough to go to college and play a little while, and we just didn't push. Luckily, though, I was the slow one of all the Renfros that actually made it, at least to the collegiate level. But I had 8 cousins, brothers, sons, or fathers, or uncles that played at the collegiate level and above. And it was just really because we all could really run. I was the slowpoke of the bunch, but, Clint was a state champion in high school, my son, and my dad was a sprint champion at North Texas. So if you can really, really run and semi-catch a football, you got a shot to go all the way. And all the Renfros that did, barring some injuries, a lot more might have made it. But, again, it's easier when you can really run, if you see what I'm saying, as far as having to push or push them towards a career. And that made it a lot easier for most of us.
Mike, if you were the slowpoke, I'd really like to watch it. One of the highlights I saw today was just an end around you ran your rookie year, and it was a great highlight. It was Frank Gifford and Howard Cosell calling the play and talking about you as your rookie year. You're pretty darn fast yourself. What is slowpoke in your mind? Well,
yeah, I was quick, and obviously to play receiver in the NFL, you at least have to have the term quick in the vocabulary to describe you. But, Dad was, like I said, technically he ran track in college, and Clint was a TCU conference champion in track, and I wasn't fast enough to run college track. I guess I'll just leave it at that. And if I was, I would have, because I really did believe track did a lot of good for not only my father, but at a lower level me, and then certainly my sons that got to play a little bit at the collegiate level. So again, yeah, I was probably a 4.6 guy. I don't, we didn't time like they do, and the combine didn't exist when I came out. But sons and fathers, I think, were more 4.4 guys. So that's about as close as I could probably describe it.
Mike Renfro is our guest on SicEm365 Radio. You were a ball boy, and you were there during a time when the Cowboys were trying to break through, had a couple of when you were young. I mean, right there on the sideline, right? And then, but you were there for the loss to the Colts, but then you were there for the win against the Dolphins. What was that like to be right there? We mentioned Landry, one of the coaches. What was that like? Well,
it was pretty special. We were just obviously Cowboy fans at the time. Dad was on the staff, obviously. And, being a water boy, we had the Staubach-Morton exchange of quarterback leadership. You got Bobby Hayes and Mel Renfro smoking cigarettes at halftime, which was amazing. I'm going, what? This is the fastest human alive, and he's smoking cigarettes at the Super Bowl at halftime. And just all those great players that the Cowboy dynasty was built from. And, it was a great time. And those were my heroes, the Leroy Georges and the Walt Garrisons, and all of those guys were people I looked up to and idolized quite a bit. So it was fabulous. And then the next year, the Cowboys in '72, the Dolphin undefeated season, they didn't make the playoffs. The Cowboys didn't for first time in maybe 10 years. And that's the year Dad said, I've had enough. He's had a championship rings as a player with the Browns, and finally got the Super Bowl ring for the Cowboys, and he went into private business and didn't look back. But yeah, it was fabulous times to be around Cowboy Nation, for sure.
You have always been class when we've had you. We've had you on a couple of times before, Mike. Obviously part of the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame, which is well-deserved. And appreciate your time. How have you handled these last 6 to 8 weeks or so with things that have been obviously the unknown of what we are in America?
Well, I feel very blessed. The first responders and the health, the medical experts that are doing, keeping us safe and out there risking it every day, we certainly are respecting and appreciating more and more as the weeks go on. I feel blessed. I'm back in the thoroughbred race business. Like most businesses, there's very few opportunities for us to run our horses around the country. There's just a couple of places open for business, but we're moving in the right direction. I'm staying safe and not traveling, and trying to be good and pay attention and keep all the family and friends healthy. And I think, we've never obviously seen anything like it in our lifetimes, and hopefully 30, 40 days we're flattening the curve and moving forward and getting back to life. But I feel blessed and lucky so far. So
thanks for
you
being
guys stay safe.
Yes, sir.
Stay safe down there too.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you, Mike. We really appreciate it. Mike Renfro, man, just good.
Mm-hmm.
Just good.
I got excited when I was watching because that segment on NFL Network that John McClain was on. I was just watching Mike Renfro talk about it. I said, "Oh, this is gonna be fun today." And I guess it's been a while since you and I have had him. I mean, my 70
It might have
years.
been when he was inducted into the Southwest Conference
so it might have
Hall
been
of
then.
Fame.
So I had kind of, I didn't remember, I guess at the time how good of an interview he was, but it was fantastic.
His best year, 85. The year the Cowboys made the playoffs that year, he had 60 catches for nearly 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. That was his best professional year. His last year in 87, 46, it was a strike year. 46 catches for 662, 4 touchdowns. Other than that, 21. Things changed. It was a different era. In college, in fact, in 2 of his years, he caught more passes in TCU for a team that was not very good than he did all of his NFL career, any year that he had in the NFL except that 85 team that Dallas had. That's the 85 Cowboys that opened the year, I believe, when they intercepted Joe Theismann like 3 to 5 times with the Thurman and Everson Walls and Michael Downs and that. I think that's the group. Yeah, that was the Thurman's Thieves.
By the way, I think this is a first for you and I in 10 years of doing shows together. In that one day we had a guy on, and then we had a guy on the next day that he was traded for.
Yeah,
because Butch Johnson and Mike Renfro were traded for each other with draft
never thought
picks,
about that. Yeah,
but they were traded for each other, and I saw that on Butch Johnson's Wikipedia page yesterday, and I thought, oh, that's neat. We're having Mike Renfro tomorrow, and then the thought went away from me. But I think that's the first time. I don't know if we could ever how we could pull that off again. It would be.
I didn't mean
you didn't mean to.
No, I had no clue.
If you tried to do it, it would make it that much harder.
All right, coming up next. Go ahead.
I wanted to say one thing. He was talking about how players back in the day used to smoke cigarettes on the sideline or in the locker room or whatever, and you'd have the Mickey Mantles in there with basically a bottle of whiskey in his locker or what have you. So with this Last Dance out, I've seen a lot of younger social media folk, or I guess slanted younger because they love LeBron or whatever, talking about Jordan just played with a bunch of plumbers, and he played with a bunch of out-of-shape looking dudes and scrubs. I'll tell you right now, half of those dudes would knock out half the dudes in the NBA with relative ease. Don't let appearances fool you, which I think just a lot of people are too young to know any better as far as that goes. But how about the fact that we're comparing generations? I want to see Amari Cooper go smoke half a pack of Marlboros on the sideline and then go out there and run his 4.3.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, no. And Bob Hayes,
mouth to mouth,
was he was an
he
Olympic
was the
gold
fastest
medalist.
human on earth.
Yes, an Olympic gold medalist who, after he broke, so if he's smoking then, that means after he ran the 100 at the Olympics,
he lit one up.
He went and lit a cigarette.
Celebratory cigarette.
I believe the one picture that I always, there's that Y.A. Tittle picture of the blood on his forehead, but I think it's Len Dawson that is on the bench smoking a cigarette. Here's a guy who's a Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champion, quarterback.
There's 2 things on that picture that they would never do today. Smoking, obviously, is the big one. He's also drinking a Fresca, which is a soft drink.
Yes.
And if you're on an NFL sideline right now and they come to you with your Gatorade, electrolytes, whatever you want, or just regular water, you said, no, listen, could I get a cherry Coke?
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe no, you can't.
I would love for somebody, and not like Gronk, that you would expect this from. I would love just to see how social media would implode if someone just lit one up on the sideline. It might be a doobie. I don't know.
Well, that'd be more likely nowadays.
Yeah, it might. Wouldn't you love that just some guy with a Crown and Coke sitting there on the side? People would melt down.
It's the end of Brady's career. He's in Tampa. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a really good run. If they're in the Super Bowl, if just at the end of the game, somebody's going to come over with a martini for Tom.
Yeah, the closest we do see now is Jerry in his box with Johnny Walker Blue in his hand. I mean, that's the closest we get to that.
There's also the Red Auerbach
that tastes like
Red Auerbach had a lit cigar, not just it was lit.
It's crazy.
Basketball game.
Yeah, he has the Johnny Walker Blue, but he also has that stuff. Jerry gave us We were at the media party one time and with Larry Lacewell, and he brought over some drinks, and it was vodka and water, and it tasted like angel tears. It was unbelievable.
All right, so that's Mike Renfro. We have a little mini segment coming up. I want to bring up Jason Peters.
No, we can go to Tony Casillas right after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll come back with a note about Jason Peters. I think it's just a note. If you're a high school football fan, I like to throw these out. I just did on the note that Jason Peters is working out, and he and the Eagles might be talking again. He's 38, I guess, coming up, or maybe just turned 38. But where this 16-year all-decade, 9-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman, where he came from in high school, and the high school and how inept it's been in football that produced this animal in a positive way, offensive lineman. That's next, plus former Cowboys and Falcons. He played, I think, with the Jets as well, but also an All-American at Oklahoma. Tony Casillas will join us on SicEm365 Radio.
Are you in the market for a new home, or are you trying to sell the one you're living in right now? You want to upsize, downsize, whatever it is, you need a realtor in your corner who's going to listen to what you need, who's going to guide through all those things. Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, they can do that for you. Lance is a fantastic listener. He's one of the most compassionate people I've ever met in my life. He's funny, everything you want in a friend, someone you want to hang out with. And Lance is going to bring that listening and figuring out your needs to this transaction. So if you're buying a new home and you need somebody who's going to really listen and find what you need, he will work tirelessly for you. And he's even going to find things you might even know you need just based on something you may tell him in passing, because that's the kind of guy Lance is. 254-214-3713, or visit his website for his most current listings, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like these, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illness and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please, remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe. Together, we'll get through this.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
One quick NFL note, Texas high school football note. Jason Peters, there's a video of him working out. He's about to turn 38. He's an all-decade offensive lineman with the Philadelphia Eagles, played college ball at Arkansas. He comes from a high school program in Queen City. Since 1951, they have 2 playoff wins and 9 appearances in almost 70 years, and it's developed a 16-year veteran on the offensive line and a 9-time Pro Bowl player. So sometimes it depends, the size of the school or how much success there might have been. He's a story, and he's trying to get back in the league with perhaps, again, the Eagles. We're now joined by a guy that had a great career in college and also in the NFL, and Tony Casillas. He joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Tony, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. What's your thought about, as a player, how much time would you need if, in fact, they ever get back on campus and anything starts to get to workouts?
Talking about this a couple of days ago, and the thing about it is the whole logistics, the way it's set up, especially when you take the NFL, the OTAs and everything that goes along with that, and just basically being around an environment where you're working out and lifting and getting in shape, and there's some structure. The college football is a tricky one because you don't no spring football. I mean, you're doing all these virtual workouts and need some time to get back on campus and, just basically get into back to routine. And, right now these kids and even guys in the National Football League really hadn't had a routine that they're used to. And so that is the problem. I think as an athlete, you're used to structure. And structure is the best thing about the business of playing sports or just keeping your life in as far as organizational. And right now they don't have that. And I think it's hard for a younger player because there's a lot more distractions. You're young, and there's not really any authority around to basically monitor that. And I think that's the hardest thing is being able to separate that and be able to get back into being organizational and getting in the routine. And right now those guys haven't had that.
You would think that most guys, would, have their workouts on their own and they would do the right thing, but are they going to do it to the level that they normally would? It's really hard to do that when you're on your own. So I would think that being the strength coach coming back might be the hardest job in sports, just having, 85 scholarship guys and however many other guys at different levels of shape all showing up at once.
Yeah, I think in college football it's different because in the National Football League you have to be ready. There's a certain amount of you have to be accountable, and not that as a high school or as a college athlete you're not. I mean, the way things have changed, and here's the thing also is that you look at these facilities that you go to, like Oklahoma, like Baylor, Alabama. I mean, these places are unbelievable. And then all of a sudden you're at home, you're in your backyard. I mean, you talk about Jason Peters. You see all these videos of people, guy players posting videos that are getting ready, and it's just not the same. So I struggle with that with college athletes and younger players being able to have enough, discipline. Not that they don't have discipline, but just the environment around them. And I think that in a national, if you're an NFL player, you're expected to do that. And if you don't, then that's really something that's on you. And, and we're talking about, your salary and millions of dollars at stake. So I think there's a difference between both college and the National Football League just because there's more distractions and you're younger and you're not as disciplined or mature is probably the proper way to put it.
Tony, with you being an OU guy and us being a show that covers Baylor all the time, just your thoughts. I know they have to be probably positive thoughts given that OU was 2-0 against Baylor last year, but a couple of really classic games. Just wondered what you thought about those two matchups between Baylor and OU last year.
Well, it was spectacular. I think Baylor, I've always been a big fan of Baylor program, and what they've done. Yes, it was unfortunate that they had the circumstances of our Broyles, but Matt Rule just put that program back on the map. Facilities are unbelievable. And so I'm just so happy to see, not only the program, but just the alumni and everyone else that's associated with that has some success. And, you look at last year, especially the game at Baylor, and I wasn't able to go to the game, just listening to that, how dominating Baylor was. And then Oklahoma comes back with Jalen Hurts. It's just crazy game. And then you had the second matchup, which was a spectacular game. And so I think that was just really something we haven't seen in a long time, to see two games like that. And then just how Baylor is a story, man. Look, in the last couple of years, and last year certainly, but what that program, the turnaround from basically from ashes to just one of the storied, the story last year. And I was just glad to see that. And yeah, I think, they have a new coach now, but I think he'll do a really good job of getting back. And again, it's hard now with all this, this pandemic and the corona and everything, but I'm happy for that program. And I'm sure Baylor fans are really, really happy about the direction they've gone.
There's always a concern when there's a coaching change, but the way Bob Stoops was able to just basically hand the keys to Lincoln Riley, who was already on campus and understood where things were. What was that like? How did you expect him to just everything remains the same? In fact, maybe gets better.
Well, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Bob Stoops. Lincoln Riley is without a doubt, he's got this label as this offensive genius mind and guru. But anytime you're left with those type of athletes, players, Baker Mayfield's. Kyler Murray. I know Kyler Murray's a little different, but that comes from Bob Stoops' what he left that program, man, and I think Lincoln has done a really good job. I think what the most negative thing that you come up when you look at that program is defensively they struggled for so long, but they they turned it around last year. So there's not this learning curve that some coaches have to come in and. I think of great examples of Baylor, new coach and maybe, yes, comes with, this label and this reputation of being a great defensive mind at LSU. But, they were loaded. And Lincoln Riley just picked up where, Bob left off at and really just evolved that offense to another level. That's the biggest difference, man. They had tremendous players on the offensive side of the ball.
Tony, to the Cowboys have had a really interesting offseason. Mike McCarthy comes in. They've kind of had this fantastic draft. They've spent some capital in free agency. What do you think about, I don't know about the new look Cowboys, but the Cowboys as they go ahead under Mike McCarthy?
Man, I'm really excited about the notion of what he can do. And I think Mike, the best thing that happened to him was to take a year off and kind of reassessing himself. And I've always been a fan of Mike McCarthy, what he's done with the Green Bay. And you got the part, I'm in my backyard, lost my wife is screaming Bloody Mary. So anyway, the land of quarantine, and so but I really like the direction that they're going. You look at the draft, and we'll find out 3-4 years how well these guys did. But they addressed every need of the value picks. What they did in the offseason. And I think that that organization needed to change. Jason Garrett was getting stale, anytime you bring a guy in like Mike McCarthy, who's one, I mean, look what he's done. He did it at Green Bay. I mean, there's a lot of expectation, but I think rightly so. And I think that, along with someone that comes along like that, the guys are really mindful of that. And I think that Mike McCarthy and the staff that he's brought in, I mean, I think Jerry and this organization has let Mike McCarthy make some decisions. And I think that's always been the knock on Jerry, that he, kept, Jason Garrett too long. But, I mean, you got a guy like Mike McCarthy out there, you go and you make that deal, you get it done. I mean, yes, I mean, all these names, sexy names comes up, as far as college coaches. But when you get a guy that's already battle tested and has already proven himself in the National Football League, I mean, that's the best case scenario, and that's exactly what the Cowboys did. We're able to do that. So I'm excited, and I think the Cowboys Nation is excited. I mean, obviously, we don't know what this whole pandemic's going to, how it's going to work out. But right now, I think the Cowboy Nation is really excited. They're drinking the Mike McCarthy Kool-Aid right now.
Tony, you started your career with the Falcons, had a couple of stints with the Cowboys, a lot of success, obviously, in Dallas. You're also with the Jets and is a brief time with the Chiefs. But is there a difference in being a Cowboy versus playing versus another team? Is it like fans think of America's team and it's the big, bright lights or the brightest of lights? Does it feel like that as a member of that team versus being a member of other organizations?
And this is no knock on any organization. I think when you look at some of the greatest franchises, start with the Patriots and the Chiefs now and the Packers. But, for me, it was just it really invigorated my career. And I just always vividly remember when I came from Atlanta, which was a horrible organization at the time, a horrible ownership and everything. And, I wanted out of there. When I got to Dallas, I'm like, oh, my gosh, I mean, this is night and day. I mean, people, they respect and the tradition and the history of that star. And I know people, I know the Cowboy haters out there hate here and that in America's team, but it is true, man. I mean, there is a different mindset. There's a different expectation. I think the best thing about the Cowboys is, regardless if they haven't been in the Super Bowl since I played, is that, the brand and everyone, you're a star. And I think that's, when you're playing the game of football, regardless you go to the Super Bowl, go to the playoffs, you get paid well, but along with it, you want to be able to reap the benefits and really just have the energy. And there's a lot of energy around this organization. A lot of people resent that because it's like, well, what have the Cowboys done lately? But as a player, man, you're like, wow, this is kind of rock stars.
Tony, we had Mike Renfro on earlier, but we also had a conversation. Paul, how did we get to the conversation about, Jim Harbaugh? No, what's the part about, Jim Harbaugh penned an open letter about college football players being closer to what the NBA players can, or college basketball players can do by leaving after 1 year and not waiting until 3 years after high school. How many players that you played against in college could have gone straight to the NFL in your opinion, and it might be zero? And what are your thoughts about that when it comes to emotions, maturity, and physicality?
Well, I don't know where Jim Harbaugh is coming from. I mean, I'm surprised that, he would say something like that. I think the thing about some of these coaches that were former players, I have respect for them, they lose sight of that. And I guarantee you, if you go back to Jim Harbaugh, his career, and you look at his career, I think it's circumstantial. It's different situations. He probably wouldn't have been able to go right into the National Football League. Now, I think in certain positions, maybe the skill positions, maybe you could come one and done. But I always said this, I play down the trenches. And physically, you have to have a little dog in you. You have to have a couple of years under your belt to get used to the physicality and everything. And, I'm mindful that the kids now are athletic, and some of the things that they do as far as alternative training is totally different. But there's something about being, as a football player, the physicality of it, the foundation, everything that develops, that you have to have a year or 2 years under you. And I just don't think that that's something that the NCAA football is ready for. Now, I'm all for it because the NCAA capitalizes the prostitutes off all these kids and makes them millions of dollars, and not they don't get anything in return for it. if they had the ability to go in a National Football League and play, then I'm all for that. But I think there's got to be a lot of research in that. But physically, the capability of it for especially the big guys, and just the speed of the game. I just don't think you're ready to go right out of high school. I mean, some guys are just barely shaving when they're 18 years old and going to high school, let alone lining up against a 7-year veteran in the National Football League. I just think it's a very, very it would be a very a down-to-earth experience, and really just confidence-wise would just really ruin a lot of really, really good, potentially good players.
Some good thoughts right there. Tony Casillas here with us on SicEm365 Radio. Tony, I wanted to ask you this because I've seen some former OU players talk about this, but what do you think it's going to take to get over that playoff hump? They've had so many opportunities since just the last national title in 2000. I mean, they played in multiple national title games, multiple playoff appearances. What do you think it's going to take for now Lincoln Riley to get over that hump and bring the Sooners number 8?
Well, I think as soon as Lincoln Riley realizes that you can't, you can be the quarterback, and you can have number 1 draft picks, but you're going to make guys a lot of money, and maybe a lot of their skilled guys are come there to play. But I mean, you have someone like Neville Gallimore, which I think in that system got better under Alex Grinch. But I mean, I watch him play a lot, and maybe I'm a little bit critical because I went to school there, and I want my alma mater to be good on defense and really just represent the Big 12. And I think I look at Baylor. I mean, defense has gotten better last year. I think the reason why is because I think a lot of teams decide to slow it down a little bit and really just kind of let the defense catch up with that. But in saying that, I think until Oklahoma goes out there and gets really good defensive linemen and really just goes with the philosophy, look, we're going to try to create issues and put pressure and not really worry about getting beat and burnt in the Big 12 because everyone throws the ball around. Until you decide that you're going to go out and say, look, we're going to play some defense. And they may have to sacrifice a year where they don't – all they do is go out and kind of like the NFL draft, go get defensive players to be able to catch up until they get to the point where, look, we're kind of caught up with our defense kind of caught up with the offense. But until they really get those dog edge rushers, guys disrupted, hopefully Neville Gallimore will be a guy from Oklahoma that's to Dallas now. Until they get guys like, the Gerald McCoys, the Tommy Harrises, the guys that, the guys that play ball like in Alabama and LSU, until they try to go that route, it'll be the same scenario. Unfortunately, they won't get past that, and I think that's something they got to commit to.
Tony, one thing, you won a championship twice as a professional player, and a Super Bowl, and you won a national championship at Oklahoma. Which one was the bigger experience?
I was very fortunate. I'm very grateful, but without a doubt, the Super Bowl. I mean, the national championship was amazing at the time, but there is nothing like playing in that game. There's nothing like the accomplishment that you're able to do. And as you mentioned earlier about what's like, the difference, playing for the Cowboys. To be able to play for the Cowboys, I mean, it's been 20-something years, and maybe it's because it's just the Cowboys undoing and not winning Super Bowl, but people still remember you. They remember the rings, remember the historical part, and the history is never forgotten. So, I mean, without a doubt, the Super Bowl, I mean, it is just, it's just an out-of-body experience. I mean, there's so many things that go into the odds of doing that, just like a national championship, but to be able to do it once, back-to-back, was just an amazing feat. So, I'd have to say that without a doubt. Super Bowl's a lot bigger. And look, I'm grateful for both of them, but you asked me the question.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've been able to experience, but it's a life-changing experience.
Tony, always appreciate you, man. Appreciate you so much. See you down the road. Thanks for your time.
All right,
stay safe.
Hey, appreciate it. You guys stay safe. Thanks a lot.
Tony Casillas, former Oklahoma Lombardi Award winner, national champion, 2-time Super Bowl champion. He was the
two-time Cowboy because
yeah.
he was there and came back.
Twice a consensus All-American in 84, 85. Boy, that's back when that was 85, and then they didn't win it again until 2000, right?
No, yeah, they won in 85, won in 2000
Lost
versus
to Miami like a year or two later.
Wait, I don't want to troll Paul here. I was going to say, who did they play in 2000?
No,
I don't want to do that.
No, I still, you asked Mike Renfro about his nightmares. That game
Right.
in 2000 is I'll wake up and go, ah!
And you know how Oklahoma won that game? They won it with defense. They won that game with defense because they had a really good defense back then. But no,
stupid rag arm quarterback Josh Heupel.
But then they went to New Orleans and played LSU 3 years later, lost in a pretty low scoring. That was a very defensive game. Everybody thought Oklahoma was just going to trounce them because they had the greatest offense ever at the time, right? And LSU just shut them down. And then the following year, wasn't it 55-19, lost to Southern Cal in an absolutely embarrassing game.
Yeah, and you know what? They played that next year, and you're thinking, no, they're pretty good. And I don't know who the wide receiver was. He returned punts.
Mark Clayton?
He let like a punt dribble off his leg early in the game.
Yep,
USC recovered. And
Mark Bradley, maybe?
Yeah, it might have been.
I think it might have been Mark Bradley.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, that was a bad play very early on in that game. But, then you look at it there from then on. So there's back-to-back appearances where you don't win it. And then they've been in the playoff, 3 times now at this point? 3 times they've been in the playoff, and they've not even won a playoff game yet.
Yep.
So, I mean, you talk about the team nationally that knocks on the door more than anybody but has never let in, it's Oklahoma. So for all the trophies they have and all that, they don't have the one that matters because they've been stuck on the one that matters number, that 7 number, for 20 years now. And they've only added 1 to that total since 1985. With all the success they've had, that's how hard it is to win a national championship.
I agree. It's hard. It is, and then they kind of come in spurts, but it is difficult. Okay, it's 450. Joe Flacco. With games maybe not played, we don't know when. Possibly they do start up in September. News on Joe Flacco with Denver. And also, let me see here. What did that's the Jim Harbaugh letter. What was the one you gave me, Craig? You gave me, let's have fun with this. This is from Kevin Wood. He writes this as if it's a press release or a story written by the Associated Press or whatever about the Big 12 meeting in Dallas. And how they can make games go in the fall. That's next on SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient, clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street. I just did it last week. I got myself a bottle of Balcones Rumble and some Grey Goose. And they've got a fantastic, if you're a craft beer fan, they've got the most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco. Unbelievable. Just go in the fridge, walk around. It's fantastic. And, of course, Balcones, single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, brimstone, all those in stock at Riverbend Liquor. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, in a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
I hate my job,
but I don't mind getting up in the morning.
I dread each day,
but I can't wait to get out of bed.
You ask me why,
and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Next in line.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at IdealMRI.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Waco, Texas, a place with its own unique history and a future bright with promise. Full of remarkable growth and opportunity, and what makes it all work is its people, families, raising children, growing businesses. Wacoans are hardworking with a passion for what's next, and we're proud to be from here, helping Waco to grow and prosper. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
All right, to close out this 4 o'clock hour, I don't know how this is going to go over. Thanks to Ideal MRI, our title sponsor, and of course, everybody that's a part of this show, SicEm365.com and SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoke, along with Deontay Epps. So this is from Kevin Wood. This is a part of SicEm365. Bob Bowlesby, Big 12 commissioner, said today in a meeting near Dallas that progress is rapidly spreading in determining how to make fall games work. I'm so proud of these guys. Cooperation is highly contagious. The key to social distance on the field, Bowlesby said, meaning no player can come within 6 feet of another player. Just think of those punting tricks where players line up far apart from each other, and let's do that every play, I guess. TCU AD reportedly suggested that when a player has the ball, the opposing team can try to leap over him, and that would constitute a tackle, or just get within 6 feet and yell rabbit or ribbit.
I like that one.
Texas Tech's AD suggested to tackle, just have the defense throw a piece of delivery pizza at the player who has the ball, and if you hit him, he's down.
Wouldn't that better be a tortilla?
Yeah, no,
though?
that's what it should have
been. Tortilla, yeah.
Kansas's AD said there was no need to worry about tackling with his team because our players have clearly shown they have no idea how to even do that. We vote for chairs on the field, basketball courts. Instead of tackling a player, you just pick up a chair and try to hit him. West Virginia's AD suggested all players lather their bodies and their lungs with coal dust because apparently nothing penetrates that stuff. Oh, that could be deathly. UT's AD, what do you think this is going to be?
Just buy our wins.
Offered this remedy. We believe if you simply spray the field with the players in Agent Orange, most organisms, especially microscopic ones, won't survive. We should at least try it. We asked our players and coaches if they felt entitled to give it a shot, and indeed they shot the bird with both hands and said, yes, we definitely feel entitled. Oddly enough, an uninvited Matthew McConaughey was hanging outside. Overzealous UT fan offered his unsolicited advice. Come on, man, let there be contact. They need to stop whining in there. Nobody wants a Dallas Criers Club. There's no way we can let this fall season be a failure to launch. When asked why he was in attendance, well, no one's making movies right now, so I had time to kill. They need to go out and just play, maybe with their shirts off. You're the movie guy.
That was
he hit about 3 or 4.
Yeah, that was good.
Oklahoma State's head coach, I kind of don't care if some people die. Dying is just a normal part of life. Just don't write bad things about my players in the paper. AD from Oklahoma said, we can't let the games go on because if anyone tries to enforce social distancing measures, we are afraid our predominantly rural fan base might shoot them. Yeah. Iowa State's AD had nothing to offer because no one ever pays attention to us anyway. Meanwhile, Mac Rhodes and Dave Aranda left the meeting with blank stares and were heard mumbling, "What idiots." So I don't know. Some of that was good.
Yeah, some of those are pretty good.
Couple, I guess, Matthew McConaughey playing on the words of his the movies. Right?
I like the Dallas Criers
Would
Club.
you like to have one night to just spend a night, not with him?
Please clarify where you're going.
No,
Spending the night with Matthew
go
McConaughey.
out, like go to 6th Street with Matthew McConaughey, or just go to would you want to go out
hang
with
out?
him?
Yeah. You know what? I think Matthew McConaughey would be much better in not 6th Street, because he seems to be more of now in his life. He's past the naked bongos phase of his life, but kick back and just at a nice, classy, quiet bar. Have him tell you, listen, when I was doing that movie Mud.
Yeah. No, I'd love to talk to him about Mud. Mud's a great movie.
It's the favorite one he did. Yeah, it's great.
I love A Time to Kill as well, which is way earlier in his career. But, yeah, he seems like a fun dude. Texas fandom, whether or not that prohibits some people out there from being friends or whatever with other people, I would totally hang out with Matthew McConaughey.
Here's the great career lesson you can learn from Matthew McConaughey. I guarantee he's had fun. You can tell he has fun doing movies when he does them. Whatever he's having fun doing it. But, I don't think he probably read the script of Ghosts of Girlfriends Past and thought this is as good as Amistad.
No.
But they said, hey, if you do this movie and this movie, we'll let you make this. We'll give you the money to do the movie that you want to do. So sometimes you do what you have to do, even though it's not maybe artistically the same. You have fun doing it, and then you get to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't complain about. Don't be, especially when you get great opportunities, don't complain about well, this is not the greatest opportunity. It's still great. I mean, you're still doing movies with Kate Hudson. Shut up. Just go have fun.
Hey, it's worked out well for him. Whatever he's done, just follow that lead other than the naked bongos, although it sounds like that might have been fun too.
That was just to get back at his neighbors.
Yeah. He was a little bit of a crazier man. He's still pretty crazy in a good way, but a little bit crazier in his younger years.
Yeah, I just get it's almost as if it's no different, and it's not just UT. It's like what's her name, Judd at
Ashley
Kentucky,
Judd, yeah.
The McCoy, Shipley references in Texas. Does Baylor? Chip and Joanna.
Yeah, that's become
that's become like every time there's anything. Like even when we had Danny White on. Here's Danny White. I guess in Tempe or wherever he lives, maybe California.
He's in Dallas, right?
Maybe he
does all those Cowboy games. I would think you'd have to live in Dallas.
He does the Cowboy games for who?
For Compass.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those guys come and go. But, that's like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, 12. Hey, tell them I said hi. But there's other people, other parents who have kids on the team.
Yeah.
There are. Of course, it's not – how about the starting right tackles, mom and dad, or dad, or mom, or
they don't. I mean, that's simple. They don't have names. It's McCoy. It's the quarterback. It's Shipley, the star receiver.
Yeah.
There's got to be a pull there, and some people would argue the other way. The NFL draft was full of just absolutely devastating story after devastating story, and some people feel like those players were being taken advantage of, and it was almost like tragedy porn is the phrase that people use.
It was already tragic enough to do the draft the way we did.
That's what the Olympics are. You watch the Olympics and it's like so-and-so.
Yeah, but you know what?
Grew up in a hut.
We like to do human interest interviews too, and sometimes we ask, who was it the other day got very emotional, broke down with us. We didn't know it at the time. There are some things you can ask somebody they're going to probably tear up or they're going to break up. It's part of the life. But Tom Rinaldi on game day is going to do a story that's a tearjerker that's like 3 or 4 minutes long. Mm-hmm. But the NFL draft was almost horrific how morbid they got. Mm-hmm. Here's Paul Catalina, 17th round pick or 17th pick in the draft of the Atlanta Falcons. 6'5", 275-pound right tackle, played 3 years at Florida State. Paul's, I don't want to say anything.
Listen, he tragically watched his puppy get thrown into a fireplace. It's, oh, my God.
Tried to rescue the dog, and someone tried to rescue him. They were pulled into the fire. And they died at the age of 17.
Yeah, all that stuff happened. That's the Olympics, though. The Olympics are always, especially when you get outside of America.
But not every single athlete for 3 days.
The Summer Olympics are like that. The Winter Olympics are not.
Yeah,
because the Winter Olympics is like, Bodie Miller only had four servants at his house.
Wow.
His parents shared a helicopter with another family.
God. I mentioned Joe Flacco. I know we got to take a break. 5 o'clock hour next. 35-year-old placed on injured reserve, had a herniated disc in his neck. He will not be available until sometime in early September. About the time, whether or not, we don't know if they'll start games. The NFL schedule released last night. Let's go a little bit piece by piece with Dallas's schedule. That's next on SicEm365 Radio. Live crawfish is back. The 30-pound bags of live crawfish, as delicious as you could imagine, back at Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. $3 a pound, 30-pound live crawfish bags are available. You order by Thursday at noon. You can pick up your customized order anytime on Friday afternoon until 6 p.m. And the drive-thru now open at Waco Custom Marketplace Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can still order what you want from their butcher shop, including beef and poultry, seafood, and also pork. And, of course, their bakery. You can order from their bakery. You can go online, WacoCustomMarketplace.com, or go by the drive-thru. Waco Custom Marketplace, live crawfish available Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio. The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
And he sees Gallup trying to keep his balance, and he does. Acrobatic score, Michael Gallup.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Just a little bit of a tease. We're going to open the line up to you today at 254-339-1122. That is also the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. The Willis Law Firm was popping earlier today when it comes to the app and all that information. That, of course, on SicEm365 in the premium section. You do not have to have a membership to listen to our show, but if you want, the premium section is loaded up with great stuff. Colt Barber on the app, brought to you by Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. That is up. There are still things we're working on, and so many of you have said you love it. And it's still not even like quite where we need it to be. And I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but promote it because it's been like something that you want, and everyone's mad at me for doing that.
I mean, it's fine. I just... I'll forward all the emails to you when they say this doesn't work yet. So we're working on it.
And I'll help them out. And by the way, this is from Born_A_Bear. Born a Bear. Amazing app. Stock. When will Earl Thomas be on the show again?
I'll tell you this.
Ouch.
For those who have asked from time to time about how they can show their support for the show, I mean, spreading the word's the easiest thing to do and the freest thing to do. And there is a share button on the app. So you can just very easily click a couple buttons and share the link to the app to send to somebody that you think might be interested in downloading it and being able to listen at any given point. But a couple things. First, there will always be audio, it looks like, playing on this app. Colt said something about it as well, but Trust the Podcast may end up being on the app, and we'll have replays throughout the day. So you don't have to listen from 3 to 6. It's better if you do, just because we've got live listeners, but you can listen on the app pretty much at any given time to catch up on whatever you missed. And for those who have said, like, how can we show our support, or what can we do to show support? Ultimately, the best thing to do to show your support for this show is to become a premium member to the website. I mean, that is the direct number one way to help out this show, because that money goes towards the website, towards what Colt, Ashley, Brian, Jason King, and all three of us do as well. So that is the number one way to help show your support, in addition to, I should say, and this is 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B, whichever way you want to go with it, becoming a member of the website, and number 2, supporting our sponsors. All these great businesses that have shown their support to us, supporting them is also supporting us. So definitely, when you hear the commercials, make note of that restaurant or car dealership, what have you, and show your support to those businesses.
Well, here's who they are, and we're also going to have in this hour, we're going to have some fun. The number to call, 254, unless you're mad in D.C., who Paul just doesn't like. 254-339-1122 is the number. That is the Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue call-in line. Oh, Everson Walls, Monday at 5.
Very nice. Very nice.
Brian Stewart, Baylor defensive backs coach at, I think, 4 on Monday. What did you give me that look for?
I thought it was in the 3 o'clock hour.
I mean, it might be 3:15. I think it's 4, but it's on Monday. It's Monday. Man, I got to tell you, Craig, you know him, and Paul, you know him, and Deonta, you would love to know him as well. Chris Visser. Mm-hmm. God, I just want to say thanks to Chris Visser. That's Leslie Visser's brother. He's been in the radio and television business. He's been a producer. He's been someone in the booth for, like, even with Summerall and Madden and those guys. He is.
He yelled at me at a Super Bowl one time.
He's a huge fan of the show. He's become a great friend of mine. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's an interesting story because we've seen Chris. I've seen Chris even longer than you guys ever did. Met him on Radio Row. He's done a lot with the Wounded Warrior amputee football game. He's now doing like a Wounded Warrior amputee softball game.
Oh, that's fun.
And so, but he and I have got to be very good friends. I was worried about him. He did not look good in Miami. In fact, we were scared for him. Heard he was having some internal issues, and I mean, he wouldn't mind. He called me the other day. And we talked for a fairly long time. He is happier than I've ever heard him in years. And, he's just gotten a couple of things that have bounced his way. He has set us up. Chris Visser's been great for the show. Appreciate him. All right, so Ideal MRI, Willis Law Firm, the chat room, which you can, right, Craig, on the app? You can
do anything you can do on the site on the app, yeah.
Richard Carr, Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Boozer's Jewelers. I talked to Brad earlier today. He is so pumped about the app. Petty Clinic Low T Therapy with Dr. Petty. and the fantastic staff. I sent text to them, and the Petty sent me back a yes on the app. Waco Custom Marketplace open Monday through Friday. Their drive-through 10 until 6. Live crawfish. Order it by sometime early Thursday afternoon. You have it for the weekend. First National Bank of Central Texas, thanks to Dan Ingham. I want to say also to Link Harris, because Link we've talked many times. He loves the show. Edward Jones.
I wouldn't be in this house right now if not for Link Harris.
Is that right?
Yeah, he helped me out tremendously.
He's been
because I'll just say the place we used to work had a weird way of distributing paychecks.
Weird's a nice way of putting it.
I'll just say that. And so I had to have Link help me out and find give me a better plan for how to do it. Hook me up with somebody who helped me out. Oh, I mean, everything above board. I'm just telling you.
Getting paid?
Yeah, no, but I mean, the way that we did and all these things, it was just weird. So he helped me out. I wouldn't be in this house if not for Link Harris.
Edward Jones. And the Edward Jones advisors and Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, Tom Albers. Camille Johnson, from the beginning, these are our founding sponsors. Camille Johnson Realtors. I sent her the note today earlier about the app. She was like, my God, this is fantastic news. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Steve Chapman. Lance Donaldson Realty.
EXP, yeah.
Yep. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. The McLean Group, Drayton McLean Jr., Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress. Westdale Asset Management with Joe Beard. Milo all day. The Tyler Candle Company, my good friend Eric Hall, of our good friend Eric Horton. Also, Christy London, personal trainer. And Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, the most recent person.
And they're the sponsor of the app.
And they're the sponsor of the app. It's been great. It's just been a great ride. We are not here without them, and we have so much more that's in the pipeline that it's going to be so much fun. Without them, we don't do this. And without Brian Etheridge and also with Ashley Hodge and, of course, Colt Barber saying, hey, we can do this. I remember I was like, we can? Why not, right? I had somebody tell me maybe yesterday or the day before, and I believe it was someone who wants to be a sponsor of the show. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Yeah, now what's going on?
No, I just got a funny text.
Okay, so that said, do you understand that this is probably about as good a time for you to do what you're doing because of what everyone now relies on? It might be, it's not perfect timing by any means.
No, it's not perfect timing, but I mean, yeah, for something to launch and be brand new, everybody's at home for the most part. So they're looking for ways to be entertained, looking for things to watch or listen to. And there's, quite frankly, only so much TV you can watch after a while, or only so many movies or so many songs you can listen to, or so many radio shows you can listen to. So hopefully that little bit of
you need variety.
Yeah, that little bit of variety that when it comes to sports radio and your listening habits, hopefully that is dedicated towards us. And now the app makes that even easier. And it's been, we've said it a bazillion times now, but it's been a change that's been better for all of us. I mean, and I'm not even thinking about it being a change at this point because we're 5 weeks deep, so it's just normal now. But there's still some newness to it that's fun and exciting, and hopefully that remains that way. I imagine that it will. But, yeah, thank you very much to our sponsors. Thanks to everybody who helped get the app put together as well and making that a big piece of what we've talked about today. And there's still some things to iron out, as we mentioned, but you can still listen right now via that app and peruse the website and read about commitments and recruits and things like that. Chat with other Baylor fans. Chat with non-Baylor fans in the free sections as well on the message board. So there's a lot to look through on there, especially if you've never been to the site before. But now the added bonus of just the much easier access than having to actually get on the internet and go to the website and then find the listen. I mean, that's not that complicated, but this is just so much easier. It's a couple clicks and you're listening to us wherever you are. So, yeah, a lot of people behind the scenes, from sponsors to the site, and just thrilled to be in this position, and we'll be even more thrilled when we have some games to talk about.
All right, are we ready? Paul, do you have the Cowboys schedule?
I do indeed.
Let's take a break first, don't you think? Should we?
Wow.
Yeah, we should.
Craig over here, throwing out commercial break stuff.
Yeah, no, that's important.
That's good. Tony Casillas, by the way, even responded. A lot of our guests have done this, and it's because of how quickly we get up the podcast of the segments how we include them in the Deontay, Dylan, Paul, Colt. Thanks, Smokey. And I know you mentioned Paul, Craig.
Tony was good,
Tony
too.
Casillas, he was good. Many different topics. And thank you as well for being a part of the show. When we come back, we break down how the Cowboys might not lose a game.
I mean, I think they're going to go 32-0.
Oh,
they're
really?
going to win every game.
They're going to win like the
twice.
first game 55-0. They'll
So
give
they'll
them
give two
wins.
wins. Yeah.
So we're going to do that. And here's what I need you to do. The number 254-339-1122. We will bring up a game. And we want you immediately, we'd love for, on Twitter, at Paul Catalina, at Craig Smoke, at David Smoke, Deontay, Paul, I got to get Deontay's Twitter handle because it's complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated. At DEPS Right Steps.
That's
At
a
DEPS
lot of
Right
stuff.
Steps.
DEPS Right Steps.
DEPS Right Steps.
Yeah.
Okay, that's his. And then you could also get us up if you want to on at SicEm365 Radio. You could also hit us up on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, 254-339-1122, in the Willis Law Firm in the chat room. We're going to pick it, like we'll say Detroit. And then I want someone outside of this room to say win or loss. Win or loss. 254-339-1122. Here we go. We break down the Cowboys schedule next on SicEm365 Radio. So, as you get to be my age, things start to break down a little bit when it comes to your muscles or your tendons or your ligaments or just at times your body. I'm in the best shape, I think, of my life, even back to when I was always active when I was in my teenage years or college. And I have things that, because of my journey of working out from March of 2013 to now, there's been things that, they don't like this. But in the end, it's about staying healthy. But I spoke with Dr. Rob Maxey. He said, David, we want you to come over to our facility. And Craig and Paul, and we'll get Deontay involved hopefully in this as well, to go by and go through the process of an MRI at Ideal MRI in the Central Texas marketplace here in Waco. And so they said, we want you to go through the process. I met Teresa at the front door, amazing. I met Cheryl, who's the tech. She was amazing. And I mean, you got to get someone like me I can be a little claustrophobic, not in a dramatic way, not in an over high maintenance way, but there are times you get a little spooked. This place was unbelievable. And the MRI was as smooth as any I have ever been in or taken, and I've been in a handful. And I felt blessed to be a part of it. And Ideal MRI feels blessed to be a part of the Central Texas community as well. Maintaining high-quality health care. In today's world, the cost of health care has never been more important, and significant illnesses and injuries are still occurring outside of whatever is COVID. And that's why Ideal MRI open and right here to serve you through the difficult time, offering premier MRIs just like the hospital, state-of-the-art technology and specialists. And by the way, you pay less, sometimes thousands of dollars less. In fact, they also have great relationships with doctors everywhere. When they give an MRI or they give you an MRI or you take an MRI, you go through an MRI, the doctors in the area know how to get it because the relationship they have with Ideal MRI. So I did the MRI. I got my results back. I've already heard from Dr. Rob Maxey, and I've also heard from Dr. David Haynes at Southwest Sports Medicine. The MRI was easy. It was very, very easy to go through for someone like me who can get spooked, and they do a great job. IdealMRI.com or call them 833-IdealMRI.com. Together with Ideal MRI and you and me will get through this together.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hi, this is Mart High School football coach Kevin Hoffman, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new SicEm365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Waco, Texas, our city of remarkable growth and opportunity with an even brighter future ahead. What makes it all work is our people living, working, and growing together. And we're proud to be from here, helping and serving the community we call home. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas, taking great pride in being locally owned and operated. Come see us at any of our 5 convenient locations. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Greg's got a story about baseball in the amateur draft. I do want to list again, since it's Friday, it was a week ago today that we announced the 2019-2020 Academic All-Stars. I've been in touch with them. This year, because of what's happening, the banquet was supposed to be next Wednesday. And so that's not going to happen. But we will have a way to highlight, spotlight them in various ways, and we'll tell you about that. But one of them is going to be in a full-page ad like we've always done. And thank God I'm working with a company that appreciates the program, with SicEm365 giving back to the local student-athletes in greater Central Texas. Craig?
Yeah, I got some baseball news here from Jeff Passan. I got that right this time?
Yep.
Okay, cool. First time for everything. Jeff Passan says here within the last 20 minutes, the 2020 Major League Baseball draft will be 5 rounds, sources tell he and another reporter. All players who go undrafted would be eligible to sign for a maximum of $20,000. While there was a proposal to the union for a 10-round draft, the sides did not come to an agreement. There remains a significant divide within the team side on the draft. The majority of front offices were pushing for a longer draft, recognizing the value reaped in later rounds can be immense. Pushback to keep the draft as short as possible from some owners was strong. The 10-round proposal that the union rejected included an interesting twist. Essentially, it was 2 5-round drafts, meaning teams would not have been allowed to use slot money from round 6 through 10 to pay guys in round 1 through 5, proposal also limited the number of undrafted players teams could sign. So there's going to be a lot of limitations, and now it's looking like we're going to have a 5-round versus, what is it, typically like 30-plus rounds.
Oh, man, it went forever and ever.
5-round draft for Major League Baseball this year, which is, I guess, the owners winning out in this back and forth.
Do you think that means high school and college coaches are happy?
Yeah.
High school coaches are not affected because those are people out there.
College coaches are happy because they're going to get to fill out their rosters with more scholarships next year.
I wonder if Coach Rod would be available. Just to, does that, because they're not going to lose anybody. You would think, not too many people. Guys are going to leave. They're going to leave, the good ones.
I think the bigger thing is, you're talking about 2 or 3 guys maybe that you'd lose, but the bigger thing is now you have an extra year of eligibility for some of your stud players that might stay a little bit longer. So
there's
your younger guys, your freshmen and sophomores who weren't eligible.
Yeah, there's some positives to it for sure. It's not a completely terrible idea or a thing that's going to happen. I think college baseball will be fine in the long run. The scholarship situation will be a little bit more complicated than it normally is. But when we did have Steve Rodriguez on about 3 weeks ago, he sort of talked about this. I mean, this is a report, and if it's coming from Jeff Passan, the odds are it's going to be pretty spot on when it comes to baseball. So this is a little bit more than just your typical report. It does look like there's some things that need to be ironed out as far as the details go. But, a 5-round draft this year for Major League Baseball, so that's going to be very quick in comparison to what we typically see, and certainly there will be a lot more talent in the college baseball ranks next year as a result of this, because a lot of guys will have no choice but to just go ahead and return, and maybe some of those high schoolers that were debating it one way or the other, although I would figure the top guys are pretty locked in on going, but some of those who maybe thought, as long as they go in the first 10 rounds, I'm going to go ahead and stick it out, are now going to be like, you know what, never mind, I'm going to go to Princeton or Purdue or wherever I was going to go.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, our title sponsor of the Academic All-Stars, among many others as well. But let's go Cowboys. Deontay, is Deontay locked in? Deontay, are you an NFL guy?
Yeah.
And Deontay, it's DEPS for steps.
Right steps.
Okay.
Right steps.
I'm never going to. We're going to have to put a big board on the. All right, so here we go. They open up on the road in the brand new stadium against the Rams on September 13th.
Thank God.
I'm going to put the W and the L's to the right of that. Paul?
I'll say an L on that one.
Craig?
I'll go win.
Deontay?
I'll go win.
And I'll go loss. Atlanta Falcons. Craig?
W.
Paul?
W.
This is a home game, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Deontay?
I'll go win.
Yeah, I will too. Here's the thing. There's going to be a game like Cleveland. They're going to lose a game like that because that's what happened. All right, the next game, Seattle. Where's this game, Paul?
That's at Quest Field or Century Link.
Okay, they've had some great matchups. Seattle looks like they've kind of reloaded again.
Yeah, I'll say that's a loss.
All right, Deontay?
Yeah, it's hard going against Seattle and Seattle.
Craig?
Loss.
I'll say loss too. That's when McCarthy gets fired. They're 1-3 or 1-2. The Cleveland Browns.
That's a dub.
Win.
Where's the game?
Doesn't matter.
Dallas. This is This is important. The next 3 are at home. This is a very important stretch in their schedule. This is the weaker part of it right here.
See, that's just the NFL. The NFL just begging.
Well,
begging for the Cowboys to get off to a good start. Begging. Go ahead.
Last year they didn't have a back-to-back home game the whole season.
I know. So they always have to suck up to them because they have absolutely set the Cowboys up for success, and they can't do anything about it.
That's what's sad.
Let's get to the rest of the schedule first, because so far Seahawks is a pretty good early season opponent, and there's some more that are coming up.
So we all agree that's 4 people.
We need a couple of days break from each other.
I got the Browns winning that.
There you go. Okay.
Baker Mayfield coming back to Dallas, playing in Dallas, and OBJ. I guess it's a sneaky game.
All right, and Andrew Billings will have 4 sacks. Mm-hmm. The New York Giants, football Giants.
Where's that game?
That's at home. This is 3 home games in a row.
W.
That's a win.
W, yeah.
Okay.
I still don't think they have the defense.
So they play Cleveland at home, the Giants at home, and then they come back with another home game against the Cardinals. Monday night. It's a Monday night game. So they get an extra day and home after coming on. An extra day and home.
Oh, that's normally a win.
The Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah, W.
All W's? Okay. Now they go and play a noon game against the Redskins.
I'm going to say L.
Are you really?
I'm going to say L. That's where you
because Redskins haven't fallen apart yet.
Yeah, they haven't fallen apart yet.
They get a little boost out of Rivera for the first maybe month or two.
Yeah.
Craig?
Go with a win.
All right, Deontay?
I'll go win too.
I will too. So far, I think I have them at 5-2. Philadelphia, the night game. Sunday night game?
Yep.
Deontay?
L.
Nope. Coming off a bad loss to a team that they shouldn't lose to, they will go on the road and beat Philadelphia. That's what they do.
Craig?
I'll go loss here.
I'm just because they're not going to go. I know they might go 32-0, but they're going to lose some games. I'll say loss. Pittsburgh, late afternoon game. Is this in Pittsburgh?
No, it's at home.
See, they get them. Okay, all right. Deontay.
Dallas usually plays well against like teams they don't play often, and it's at home. This will be a game they'll win.
All right. Who else?
Right before the bye week, by week 9, I would assume that Ben Roethlisberger is going to be hurt again. So I'm going to say the Cowboys win.
Craig?
Go Steelers here.
Oh, okay.
Although the Steelers are going to be pretty darn good, I think.
Well,
they're not a team that's they're as much of a logo as the Cowboys are.
Yeah.
So they're not a team that's going to just automatically be behind the 8 ball because it's Dallas versus some team that's not as high profile as the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to be good. I think they're well coached. Got a veteran quarterback, although he may or may not be healthy at that point in time. So, yeah, I'll go with the Steelers. And, plus they got a pretty good defense, and you're going to have a good defense to mess with the Cowboys at all this year.
All right. Man, the text line in the chat room blowing up with the app. Good news. Thank you. All right. Now, they get a bye. They always get a bye at about the perfect. I'd rather.
Your conspiracy theories on the Cowboys schedule. So far, you have claimed a bye. This is the perfect time by the NFL.
The one I have the most is during Thanksgiving.
The home
but
games
I think they were fair to who's playing them on Thanksgiving Day for once. Minnesota. This is a good football team, right?
Loss.
All right. I'll say loss too. Then they play on Thanksgiving after having a bye week, and then they're home against the Vikings, right?
No, they're on the road.
Okay, that's good. Because normally they do too many times. They get a home game.
This is a Thanksgiving game, so it's at home. Yeah,
and this is a history game. But you know what? It's lost so much. RG3 was the last team that probably was able to go into a Thanksgiving Day with a Redskins team. But there's still, who knows? By then, Redskins have too many injuries.
Yeah, the Cowboys win this one.
Yep.
Across the board?
Yeah. The next is at Baltimore, Week 13.
Woo!
On a Thursday night.
Man, it's about to get salty, boys.
I think, I'm not saying, they're going to get mauled.
Mauled?
They're going to get mauled in that game. Absolutely, I can predict it right now. They are going to get mauled.
I think the Ravens will be
30-7?
It's not going to look good.
How do you know?
It just because I think the Ravens are going to win the AFC.
All right.
I mean, I do. I think the Chiefs will have a little tiny bit of a thank God you wanted hangover, for this city that's never won it. A little bit. They'll still be really good, and they still have Patrick Mahomes. But I think the Ravens win the AFC. I think they're pretty salty.
All right, so loss from Paul Deontay.
I won't say maul, but they won't come out with a win.
Okay, Craig.
I said loss already.
That's a Thursday night game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then they have Cincinnati.
On the road, Joe Burrow welcomes the Cowboys to his new place. He will have a great 2.5 quarters, and people will talk about, man, this Joe Burrow. But the Cowboys too deep, and they'll eventually beat him.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a win at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Is A.J. Green still on Cincinnati?
Yes.
He is. He doesn't matter.
He doesn't want to be.
He doesn't play.
Is
he doesn't matter.
Carter still playing for Cincinnati?
Yeah, might as well. No, they've got a bunch of running backs from Oklahoma.
Yeah, they did. 3 of them.
They have 3 of them.
Right?
Mixon,
Pirine, and Rodney Anderson.
Okay. The 49ers. Home game, a Sunday night game against San Francisco. They set this up because that they feel like this might be like a home field advantage type game for the postseason.
Yeah.
I'll let you and your little silver star underwear.
No, this will be a tough game, but I do think this is one because they would have had the loss at the Ravens a couple weeks before, and then they beat up on the Bengals. And my thought, this is a game they go out and win at home. And then everybody starts talking like, oh, Mike McCarthy's got him right now. Oh, look at what Mike McCarthy's done. This is the next wave. Oh, look what they're doing.
Ted Teague, my man. Had a good talk with him today. I said, by the way, you don't have to listen to anybody else anymore. The app is locked and loaded. You see me? I'm listening. And quit hating on the Cowboys.
I'm going to go with a win here for San Francisco. I'm going to go with the Niners and that defense up front. Particularly, I think they'll give. I don't want to pretend like I know what's going to happen in the game because we don't even know who's going to be playing at that point. But I will go with San Francisco here. I don't think they're going to be perfect at home by any means. So this is a likely candidate to knock them off.
Yeah, I'll take San Fran too.
This seems to be a game that they would lose at home.
Right. That's why I'm going with it, with it to lose at home.
So none of us have them making the playoffs, do we?
I've only got them with 5 losses right now.
And that's fine. Philadelphia.
This to me is
late
probably a win.
Afternoon game
I'm
on the
telling you,
road.
This is
right?
home. This is home.
Okay.
They get Philadelphia at home late. They can win this one.
But if they lose to the Ravens and then 2 weeks later they lose to the 49ers, isn't this the spiral?
Yeah, that's the spiral.
I don't really buy into that too much. I just think it's less a spiral and more the schedule gets more difficult. I mean, you've got a pretty nice stretch there at the beginning, and you do have, a pretty good opponent almost out of the gates with the Seahawks, but that's not till week 3, so you should be 2-0 at that point. Browns, Giants. I think the Cardinals game will be really interesting because I do think that's a team that's fun, and that's a team too that's just really dangerous, that they could give you some problems and score in a hurry. But I just think you get to later in the year, and all of a sudden you got all these divisional games where at years past the Cowboys have already they're done with the Giants already. They're done with the Giants by the halfway point. They got to play them the very beginning and the very end, which is not normal really for them. But they did get better in December. They really did under Jason Garrett. They had a bad stretch there, but they did end up being okay in December for the most part. But I just think that's more of the schedule ramping up, and all of a sudden you're seeing a bunch of playoff teams. 49ers, Ravens, Vikings. I mean, those are 3 of your last 5 games there.
If you look at this schedule based on last year, it does look daunting, but it never ends that way. Like someone like Baltimore or the Rams won't be very, I'm not saying those two, but one of those teams, they'll just drop.
Yeah, but then at the same time, though, they'll go and lose to a team like the
Arizona.
Jets. Yeah.
So of all the games we put together, they'll beat the Giants at the end. So
we're back to the first Redskins, or that second Redskins game, I believe, is where we went, right?
No, we're done.
Baltimore, we're done?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, Bengals, yeah.
So the games that we, majority or more, said they're going to lose.
No. Did we already do San Francisco and Philly and New York?
Yeah.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, I didn't hear from. I didn't hear. I mean,
Deontay.
I said Philly had 2 games.
Philly, go the last.
Philly and Giants game.
Yeah.
Wins.
I have both wins.
Okay.
I think I've got them sweeping the East, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll take that. I'll say they go 1-1 in those last 2. Probably beat the Eagles at home and then lose that last game to the Giants just randomly. I don't think they're going to go 6-0 versus the NFC East this year. So I need to pick a loss, and I'll just go with that one.
Yeah,
I think this is a 10-6 team. I do.
Right, so
I think
here are
they're
the games
10-6.
we have them losing. A majority of us said losses. At Seattle. Game against Philadelphia on the road. Split the opening game with the Rams, so that could be either way. The Vikings, the Ravens, and the 49ers. The majority of us. So that's 5 or 6 losses, and that's
10-5,
Yeah.
11-5, 10-6.
They've always played well against Kirk Cousins, seemingly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that
he beat them a couple of times. One year they finally won the division.
Actually, Kirk Cousins was one of the few people that they used to intercept. So we'll see if that changes.
A lot of people did that.
But I mean, he was with the Redskins. He was with the Redskins like that. The Cowboys, for now going on a decade, are not a team that creates turnovers.
From November 27th. Well, they hope they've fixed that. November 22nd to December 27th, they play at Minnesota, at Baltimore, home against the 49ers and Eagles. That's a stretch. That's not all of the games, but that is where you set yourself up to play if you do. In January, the season ends on January 3rd.
Gosh, the NFL gave it so easy to them, that last stretch.
They do. I mean, it's always, the Cowboys, the
NFL.
NFL.
I do like the schedule, though, because I think it's interesting. I think, the NFC East, I'm not really sure what to think just yet. I know Philly's all in, and the Giants seem to be improving, and the Redskins have a new coach, so, maybe Dan Snyder can finally get out of the way and allow a coach to really do his thing, and they can get that disorganizational or dysfunctional mess under control and a little bit more organized. But there's some really good matchups. I think this is a tough schedule. I do, with who you're talking about from the playoffs last year being in front of you, and that's just the way that it worked out with the way the divisions fell for this particular schedule. But, 49ers, Cowboys, Ravens, Cowboys, Vikings, Cowboys, those are going to be a lot of fun games. Seahawks.
Yeah. And we'll be so thirsty for that. We'll be thirsty for Cowboys JV games. We will.
Yeah, and now we got to go. But even the games like the Bengals, which I would not have too much interest at all in. I'll be interested to see what Joe Burrow's doing and the OU running backs or whatever.
All right, on the Willis Law Firm chat room. How about this from Butterfly FX? Wow, it's great, the app. How about AF Blue 82? Listening to the show in the background while scanning the FRO and other premium content. This app is great.
That's
Alan
another
Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
Another thing that I need to mention before we go here is the Fro is also a part of the premium experience if you sign up over on SicEm365.com. And basically that is all of the scuttlebutt, very rumory type of stuff that kind of goes through the hallways and through the back channels and stuff of just what people are hearing. And more often than not, I've seen a lot of those things come true. So it covers everything from programs to buildings to things that their projects are working on, and that's always a very interesting read each week.
Okay. Now, the Riverbend Liquor and Wine Hotline. It continues to talk about that. For one, don't forget to add your new text number to the live stream page, which I think that might be okay. That is an old one. All right. The sounds good and gorgeous. That's from Butterfly FX again. That's Karen. I'm listening to the new app. Thank you very much. All right, coming up, we got a couple of notes. Larry Scott from the conference that everyone forgets about,
the Pac-12.
Yes, and his thoughts about fall football, which is surprised me because everything you get out of that conference, and it's California, most of it, not all of it, but a lot of it, you would think would be negative, but that's coming up next. Hey, by the way, Colt Barber, Paul, you too, obviously, both of you, what you've done with the app, and it's not even 100% yet, is fantastic. It's just, can you see the difference in how people react to this?
No, it's fantastic.
Absolutely, and the best part.
I'm relieved that it's done almost.
Craig Smoke, Deontay Epps, Paul Catalina, David Smoke, back in a moment. SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com, Dr. Kent Petty. PettyClinicLowT.com can help you if you have some issues sometimes. You're just lethargic. You're tired. You don't feel right. Well, a lot of that can be controlled by how much you sleep, what you eat, and really everything else, and even exercise. But sometimes it's just part of your body. Your testosterone might be dropping. It might get low as you get older. And sometimes it doesn't mean you have to be over 40. It could be even younger than that. And so Dr. Kent Petty can set you up for discounted lab work. He can check your results. And if your testosterone is too low, he can put you in a program to increase your testosterone so you can be the high-performance man that you want to be. What does that mean? Higher, better energy, stamina. Yes, it could also make your sex drive better. If that's a problem, Petty Clinic Low T can help you with that. Again, get the blood work at discounted rate, a discounted price, and Dr. Petty will look at the results and put you in a program if that's what you need to increase your testosterone levels. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com. They're located on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodway at PettyClinicLowT.com. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
Live crawfish is back. The 30-pound bags of live crawfish, as delicious as you can imagine, back at Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. $3 a pound, 30-pound live crawfish bags are available. You order by Thursday at noon. You can pick up your customized order anytime on Friday afternoon until 6 p.m. And the drive-thru now open at Waco Custom Marketplace Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can still order what you want from their butcher shop, including beef and poultry, seafood, and also pork. And, of course, their bakery. You can order from their bakery. You can go online, WacoCustomMarketplace.com, or go by the drive-thru. Waco Custom Marketplace, live crawfish available Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
JW_316, the app is a game changer. Speaking of which, and I don't mind saying this at all, this is from Colt Barber. Thanks for reaching out. Those I still got a couple times, it's going to be hit and miss for a little bit. Here's why. iOS, whatever that means, is pushing through an update that was supposed to be there originally that allowed background streaming but was accidentally left off. It's been approved but not live yet. And so the version download, still keep trying it. How many updates have you already had today?
Just 2. So.
Android is, by the way, flawless.
Yeah, so it's Apple. Tim Cook. I've written so many strongly worded letters to him.
Okay. So I'm in the App Store. Okay, so that's what this is, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're telling me there's something when there's an update? It'll tell me
you've
that?
already gone to the wrong page. So what you do is, if you already have the app, you go to the App Store, and at the top,
I already have the app. The app's right here.
No. Go to the App Store.
That's what I was.
Yes, go in the App Store. You weren't in the right place. You went to the search for the app. So you click on your top, the picture right here. There's like a picture of you, or it just should say like DS.
Yeah, like that right there.
Kind of. Yours looks different than mine. So, but you click on it, and then it'll. When was the last time you updated your phone?
Like say like that?
Yeah. So you see the top. There's a picture of you.
Yes.
So click on the picture.
I just did.
Okay, and then you'll see down lower. There's updates.
Oh dear God!
And then you
for all of these I haven't updated.
Yeah.
I don't see ours.
Well, just hit update all, and then we'll see what happens. Because you need to do that. That's a thing that people have to do with their phones.
Update all. I don't see update all.
Deontay,
I see Dropbox, Linksys, TikTok, Southwest Airlines, Netflix.
Oh, your apps. Those are your apps that you have on your phone.
So it should like up in the right, up above them, above the list of all those, it should say update all. Deontay, please show.
Updated recently, it says. Update. I just did that. Just did it. Update all. There's 6 of them.
Yeah.
But I don't even see Deontay. Do you see us on here? This is.
How about we look at this after the show?
This is fun
How about
on the
we
air.
do that?
I think that people want to. I think there are people just like me that are clueless.
This is an intern job now. Is dealing with your technical issues.
All right.
100% an intern job.
Ryan Stewart, Baylor defensive backs coach, will join us Monday, as will Everson Walls, among others. What's going on? Anything in episodes 7 and 8, The Last Dance?
Mm-hmm.
I think it gets into the Jordan and father thing.
You guys have been watching it more religiously than I have. So
yeah, I have. It's hard. I actually have a reminder in my phone that it's about. It's the only thing I watch because everything else is just if it's even on. So
well, I mean, looking at a quick Google search of The Last Dance 7 and 8, the director says that he is shocked that Michael Jordan approved these episodes. Episode 7 appears, this is 7 we're going into, right?
Yep.
Okay, 7 appears to be a continuation of themes humanizing Jordan while also potentially opening him up to criticism. Just after the conclusion of episode 6, ESPN released a clip foreshadowing the story of Jordan punching Steve Kerr at a practice that should air in either episode 7 or 8. The Steve Kerr thing is only a story that's told, and he was eager to tell that, and so was Steve, so Kerr will be a part of telling that story. They also had a treasure trove of footage from the NBA with these 2 episodes, and with the Michael stuff, this is from the director. Man, I don't know if you would want to practice with Michael Jordan. It would be fun to watch. I don't know if it would be fun to interact with him during that because he is hard. He wanted to make those harder than any game could possibly be. And in the East back in the 90s, that meant making it as rough and as mentally grueling as possible. So it looks like they'll take a look at the practices as well.
Okay. Now, from Commissioner Larry Scott told a media outlet in California, the Hotline, on Friday, he is increasingly optimistic about the prospects the Pac-12 will have football following a series of developments inside and outside the conference. Scott cited 3 reasons he's more optimistic this week than I was last week. The NFL revealed its schedule. He said the absence of pushback from government officials in the states that have NFL teams in Pac-12 campuses. The spate of recent announcements by the Pac-12 universities, they intend to reopen for the fall with students on campus. We've said from the start, if it's not safe for the students, it's not safe for student athletes. As I cough. Discussions from the Pac-12's COVID Medical Advisory Committee, including doctors, trainers, etc. Feeling like there's a good chance we'll get there. He addressed the woolly mammoth in the room, the potential for one or more teams in the conference to refuse to play. Would the conference leave someone behind? Could one school squash the season? Could it be the Pac-9? We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there, but I don't expect that.
I mean, it sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's going off of things that we already know. I would love it more if an official who's the things that I've heard and seen behind this, I wish he had like some quotes from their board of regents or something that was saying like, hey, we know a doctor that says that this is going to be all trailing off here. But really, he's just going off of the fact that other people are opening up and getting back to normal. So I don't know how much really, research or any hard backing there is to that optimism. But, hey, I'm being optimistic right now as well. I feel like we'll have football, and I'm going off the same things that he's going off of. So, hey, let's all be optimistic together and hope that we definitely get football back here sooner rather than later.
By the way, this comes from Pete Thamel by way of Matt Zenitz and Tailua Tagovailoa, to his brother, is in the transfer portal.
Didn't even know that he existed, basically. No,
okay.
I knew Tua had a brother, but I didn't know.
He's at Alabama, and he was a pretty highly recruited player. So
yeah, I may have just glossed over him at some point or another, but he's transfer portal from Bama, I guess. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yeah. Well, brother's no longer there, so maybe he wants to get closer to Miami.
Well, and there's a couple guys. I mean, it's going to be a quarterback battle whenever it comes to it, and now they don't have spring football. That job's probably just going to go to Mac Jones, early on. It's going to be his job. It was his job to lose anyway. But
right, yeah. That's going to be a lot of quarterback races are going to be interesting in that way, right? Because we don't have spring ball, and there's so many jobs that are going to be competed for. At Baylor, it's pretty clear. It's going to be Charlie Brewer unless he just goes off the deep end, which no one expects to happen. And, that's pretty clear cut, but you feel good about what you have. Elsewhere, though, there's a lot of not-so-sures on who the actual starter deserves to be. So there's going to be some very quick quarterback competitions and position competitions taking place in these training camps whenever they can get those off the ground.
All right, Giannis, Craig, what's this about?
Giannis, it's not even worth mentioning this late in the show, honestly. It's he got hacked, apparently, and the person who hacked him said some really awful things about a variety of different people acting as though they were Giannis. That included the late Kobe Bryant. And I didn't get into all what was said, but I just know it was horrific enough that it was deleted very quickly, and Giannis had to come out with an apology and let everybody know that he got hacked. So, yeah, be careful with your social media, and be mindful, especially if you're a star of that status, that there are people who would love nothing more than to make you look bad. And so that's what somebody chose to do with probably one of the nicest guys in the entire NBA.
It's an evil thing, the social media.
More often than not, and it doesn't need to be that way. It could be the greatest thing ever, but there's a lot of just bad people that choose to use it the other way.
That when they developed it, they thought it would be for good things?
I mean, most of the people thought, the first idea was just that you and your friends can talk online. It was essentially glorified instant messaging.
Now you can post pictures and you can do retweets and you can do this. But I think the first thing on their mind was money. That was the first thing on their mind.
They made a bunch.
And Twitter's making money, so I don't think that they're in any hurry to really, get all the toxic people out of the room because, hey, they're users and they're a part of the community. And they say from time to time when, especially politics get involved, and politics is just the worst of the worst on social media. It's not even a close race. But they try to clean it up here and there, but there's just no way to reel it all in, and especially Twitter, because I think their big mistake was that most social media sites that I've ever been a part of, you have to have some sort of a verification, like your email and your name. You have to put your name in there, and I'm sure you can get around it, but Twitter's just like, you can sign up, and I'm Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm going to make my header Tua Tagovailoa, and I'm going to pretend to be Tua Tagovailoa. And until somebody finally reports me enough, there's no stopping it. So that's an area where they could really seek to improve. But I think it's all out of the box at this point, so there's no chance of that.
All right. Okay, now we're ready to go. Episode, Craig?
25.
Week 5 done. Deontay. Thank you, Deontay Epps. Also, thanks to Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, all of our guests, Tony Casillas, Mike Renfro, Grayson Grundhafer. We're already loading up for Monday. Enjoy your Mother's Day weekend. I'm David Smoke. Thank you for listening whenever you do, however long it might be, and good night.